Hello and welcome everybody to today's game. We are playing Call of Cthulhu, The Incredible Adventures of the Unsinkable Alice Baker, the second adventure. This one's called Simmon's Strand. It's based on Der Priester der Krähen by Pegasus Press. I have taken this German adventure and I've transposed it into the United States. And I've also changed some of the contents for obvious reasons that I will maybe go into at the end of the game. It is 1930. You have just come out of a very interesting adventure at 1206 Spooner, where you have managed to retire a ghost and free lots of spirits and help them pass over. You also took some damage in the fight. You were shot. And a very good friend of yours, Matthew, who is a lawyer, is currently working in Simmon Strand, which is it's a seaside resort on the New York State coast, upstate New York. It's a little bit north of a quite a busy freight port called Port Arlington, and there he's working for a real estate company, and the real estate or the realtor, the developer, the property developer, has also built some holiday chalets, and they have just been finished, and so he has now basically offered Matthew a week's stay in one of those chalets, and Matthew basically is married to his work, so he's not really interested, but he thought that maybe you might be, and so he's given you a week's stay in Simmon Strand. So basically you got a little bit of a leaflet which explains that the chalets have newly been finished. There are 6 of them. They are on the crest of a hill overlooking Simmon Strand Bay. It's about 2 kilometers outside of Simmon Strand proper, so it's you can reach it via a coast walk, which is very picturesque. There is a private bathing strand there, bathing beach, and at this time of year it's going to be lovely because New York is going to become quite sweltering in the next couple of months, because it is June, so there you will have the breeze, but it will be very sunny, and you've got a week's stay there, and you have a chalet all to yourself, because Matthew is actually staying at the Murphy's Hotel in town, because that's where he is working. And the person he works for is called Giles Morton, and he is one of he's a big property developer in the area, and he has apparently recently gone into tourism, and the chalets are his first foray into this industry. And Matthew has already left New York. So basically you were going out with him on the Saturday, and you went for a really nice dance, and then he gave you the invitation, and he said that you could reach him until Monday about noon, when he was going to take a train up to Simmon Strand, and that you could join him. Let's say you basically decided to join him on Friday the following week. He will be working there for about 4 weeks, but you have like 1 week that you can just do whatever you like. But he said, I'll be working, but maybe there might be an evening or two when the 3 of you, or just even the 2 of you, and Dottie will go to bed with a really lovely, interesting crime novel, can go out for dinner or something. But he just felt that you needed to treat yourself a little.
Well, he's a darling, and very right. After this quite unnerving adventure, it will be really, really fun to just enjoy the sea, fresh air, the sun, good food. So it will be amazing, and honestly I think Dottie can use a break as well. I think a change of scenery will be good for her as well.
So basically he said that he would that obviously, he knows Dottie, and Dottie will never ever let anyone else do the food shopping because nobody knows what's good enough. Nobody knows as well as she does what you like. And she's like the best cook ever. And she is a really, really, really good cook. So she likes to look out for the best food offerings, and she basically does all the food shopping. But he also realizes that the train doesn't come in until 1648. So it might be a little bit late to get like the good stuff, and you will be there juggling suitcases and how ladies pack. So he said he will be there in his office until noon, and you can phone in, or Dottie can phone in, a list of the basic staples that he will make sure will be at the chalet when you arrive, like, the butter and the bread and the honey that you like and the marmalade and the jam that you like and you're bringing your own coffee because...
Yes.
Yeah, and so, of course, Dottie has been spending the Sunday making a list and then going over it and shortening it because he will have to do the shopping for her for the first day, and she knows that, he will be unable to even understand the difference between this type of oyster and that type of oyster, so...
Just stick to some bread, some butter, some
it
milk,
is very basic,
eggs.
so it's kind of like pickled mackerel, things in tins that even a man can buy.
Easy to get, yeah.
And then she rings in, and she rings his secretary, and the secretary writes everything down, and she says that she will make sure that what's his name again, Matthew Gregory, that Mr. Gregory will get the list, and she will make sure that he gets it before he leaves. And she promises Dottie 3 times that she will make sure that he gets the list, and should he not check in with her before he leaves, she will ring the hotel, Murphy's Hotel in Simmon, Strand, and she will give the list to the receptionist, and will make sure, doubly and triply sure, that the receptionist will give the list to Mr. Gregory, and she will ring Mr. Gregory later to check that he get the list just in case. You can hear Dottie's side of the conversation.
And Alice is like, that poor assistant. Bless her for keeping up with this.
Yeah, but when it comes to food shopping and making sure that everything is there that Dottie's mistress requires, Dottie doesn't take any hostages. So, yeah, and that done, Dottie closes her notebook and she says, and now I need to do some shopping. I will need a new bathing suit. Or actually, I will need a bathing suit. I was thinking maroon as the color.
That would look lovely on you. I will just see what is in style at the moment. I think I can use an update on my wardrobe. I haven't been at the seaside for a while. Let's do some shopping.
And you are very happy that she thinks of buying clothes for herself, which is new and which isn't usual, and especially a bathing suit. It'll probably be something like a tent, so you will have to look at the style for her. But, so the two of you get a cab, go into town, you go to all of the places that you normally shop for beach clothes. And
for beach clothes, yeah. So also like light dress that you quickly can just throw over, maybe like a hat in case the sun is a bit warmer.
And
obviously
Dottie,
sunglasses.
Of course, basically draws you towards a rack of cardigans. She says, well, just in case the wind is getting a little bit cooler in the evening, this cardigan and this cardigan, and she points at 2 cardigans. You really, I can't have you catch a cold. You will have to have a cardigan and maybe a shawl or 2.
Well, only if you take one yourself, because you shouldn't get a cold either. So let's each pick one.
Fair enough.
And add a nice shawl. I think I have 1 or 2 also at home. I think we if we put all of them together, we will be well equipped for even slightest breeze that is not as warm as we like to.
And so basically, you pick a couple of cardigans, you pick clothes, you pick bathing suits. You steer her towards the more modern cuts that don't make her look like she's 80 years old. Um, but of course, we're talking 1930, so it's all very modest.
But still, it will be in style with the current fashion.
Yeah.
So I will make sure she will look just amazing, and will be obviously as well.
Well, I mean, yes, I mean, as amazing as she can look, because obviously once she shows some ankle, she turns into a grey mouse.
Oh, but we're at the beach, and we're at a private beach, so it's not like a public scene where everyone's running along. I think we can just easily enjoy ourselves.
That is true. And she also picks a parasol for herself because she doesn't have one.
Good thinking. Alice supports all of that. She's quite surprised, and she's just like, she is slowly getting a fashion style. I like that.
Yeah, and especially since you know that when the sun comes out, she freckles really easily, and she really doesn't like that because it makes her look even younger.
It looks adorably
And so she
cute.
wants to protect her skin from the sun so that she doesn't freckle as much. Because you know what also happens is she's got brown hair, but when the sun comes out, the auburn comes through, so it kind of goes a little bit reddish. And she really doesn't like that. It looks really good, but she hates it.
It looks so pretty, but yeah, she doesn't. So parasol is a good idea. I'm quite sure I have
You have one.
definitely one back at home.
And then she starts packing, and you end up with, like, between the two of you, you end up with 4 suitcases, which is pretty normal for, you know,
Yeah,
you
with
traveling in
clothing.
style.
Coffee, a nice brandy, maybe a good whiskey as well, just in case. Some books.
When you mention whiskey, she lights up and she's like, yes, because you have noticed that she's taken a shine to alcohol.
But Alice will have at least a peek and look at that. It's not too much, and only in happy times. Well, and in very, very horrible times as well, but we hope we don't need that. And some books, obviously, because we need something to read when we're at the beach.
Yeah. So you have a good selection of books and everything, and so everything's ready and packed. Do you want to do anything before Friday? In addition to what we've just discussed.
Tuesday. We decided that we will drive in on Tuesday. At least that's what I've written down.
Yeah, I've decided that we're switching this to Friday.
Okay, to Friday. Good.
Because he's just going down on Monday, so he will be
So he
very
has
busy
yeah,
the first couple
that
of
makes
days, and,
sense.
you know, so
That
and he
makes
also
sense.
said he wants to check out the chalet first.
Then
And
Friday
he
it
also
is.
said that he's going to contact you on the Wednesday to ensure you to you know, like, should something have
everything is
happened,
there.
then he will let you know on Wednesday. But he will call you on Wednesday anyway, just to let you know that everything's fine, that he's checked out the chalet, he's got the keys, and
Everything
they are
is
ready
prepared.
to go and everything. So
Okay, on Friday, I could imagine even that we spread the shopping over 1 to 3 days, a little bit
Yeah.
here, a little bit there, just to get the best stuff that we really enjoy. We will prepare and probably have some kind of food or drink then, as I said, with me. I don't think much else. We will just prepare. We will be excited for the beach. The only thing, maybe I would look in with Liz if she has 1 or 2 other canes maybe that I like, because honestly when I think about a beach with my normal cane, I'm lost because it will not work because it's quite slim. I think it would be good to have a cane that is a bit wider at the bottom, that doesn't sink in that easily. So she will probably look at Liz's place if she can find a more sturdy walking cane.
So you go to Liz's place, and Liz is, oh, Miss Baker. It's always nice to see you. How are you getting on?
I am totally fine, thank you so much. I hope you're fine as well. It looks she will look around. I guess everything is fixed now and looking
Yes.
just spit spot on. It looks really nice now. I like the change.
Yes, and I've also done something with the lighting, and you can see that she's hung a lot because obviously everything shattered, so all of the lights went out. Or if they had been on, they would have
Yeah.
gone out. So she's actually placed more lights now, and it's a lot brighter. And she's also taken out because all of the display cases shattered, so they've been removed. So now there's a lot more room to walk around in. So it's more like she's now turned this into. Basically, when she shows off her antiques now, the furniture, she has grouped it like, so this is kind of like a living room, this is another living room, but in a different style. So if you get my meaning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really lovely.
So it's like entering a huge house full of living rooms and bedrooms.
Bedrooms and like lounge area and
Yeah.
things like that. Liz dear, I am looking for maybe a cane that is a bit more sturdy, because we're planning to go for a week to the seaside, and
Oh,
when I
that's
think
lovely.
about walking at the beach, my really beloved cane, she will look down at it, is probably not the right thing. So I would be curious if you have anything available, if I could have a look.
Well, if you would like to follow me, and she takes you to the place where she has not one or two or three, but pretty much a dozen canes of different sizes. And she says, and this is something that I acquired recently. It's from England, and look what it does. So it's a cane, and she basically rams it into the floor, and she says, well, you can see that it's actually not quite what you were looking for, because it is even more pointed than the one you've got. She says, ram it into the sand, and then you click here, and she pushes a little button, and out comes a seat. So you can actually sit on it.
That is interesting.
But this is not quite what you're looking for, because obviously you want one that's wider at the bottom.
Yeah, but that one we will honestly definitely take. That looks very handy.
It is.
like
It is.
that.
It is. It actually was a pair, but I've sold the other one. So otherwise, I would have given you the two, and I would have made you a really good deal. But this
will
one,
take
I
this.
will throw this one in for free. So here are a couple of canes that have like a wider bottom, so it's not pointed but flat. And you actually find one that is really beautiful as well, and that would suit.
Perfect. Then I have one walking cane for sand and one seating cane. Her collection is growing.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really it. Maybe she would make a small evening, although honestly Dottie has done so much now, she will not bug Dottie with coordinating a dinner or so. She would during the week also socialize, at least meeting with people for lunch, just in her usual circle, to just stay in touch, to also here and there just tell obviously that I'm going to the seaside, because that is a special and nice and obvious. And no, it's not the Hamptons, it's Simmon Strand, and in a beautiful new chalet. And basically Alice will count the hours until we leave, because she's really excited.
And on Wednesday evening, you get a phone call, and Dottie answers, and she says, she comes to you and she says, it's Matthew. And she, she says, it's Mr. Gregory. And she hands you the phone.
Matthew, darling.
Alice, how are you doing?
I am fine and excited. How are you doing? How is Simmon Strand? How is the job?
Well, to answer one of your questions at a time, I'm doing fine. Simmon Strand is completely not what I expected. I thought it was kind of a sleepy seaside town, but it isn't. It is lovely, it's quaint, but it is full of life. I mean, just even the souvenir shops, and then the quaint harbour where you can buy fresh fish and oysters. I'm telling you, Dottie will love this. And I was at the chalets today. There is 6 of them. I saw the one that has been assigned to you. It's got a sea view. You can look and see the sea from your bedroom. It is just amazing. And at the moment, there will only be 2 more families. They will also be traveling from New York, incidentally, on your train, because that's the only train that leaves on the Friday for Simmon Strand. And they will be picked up as well by somebody from Morton's company, and taken there. So basically, it's going to be brilliant. I have already inspected the icebox and I've inspected the cooking range. You can let Dottie know that there is it's a gas range.
Okay.
So she will be able to do whatever she does in New York. It's
Perfect.
perfectly. So I've been assured, because as you know I can't cook, but the caretaker showed me how it works, and he basically boiled some water for me, and that worked. So, and the icebox is fully functional. So I'm going to do some shopping tomorrow. I've got the list. It's a long list.
If you can't get something, don't worry and stress too much. It will be totally fine. We can do some shopping on Saturday.
Yeah, well, you will have to do some shopping on Saturday, because some of this stuff I have never even heard of. And I mean, yes, it is a seaside resort, and yes, it's a tourist town, but Piccalilli, whatever that is, I checked, they didn't know it. So I don't know how to explain this to Dottie. Maybe you can break the news to her really gently.
I will. I think if you have the main things there, like
But
I'm quite sure there were
They
bread
have
and
special
eggs.
gooseberry jam from locally grown gooseberries. I was thinking of getting a glass. It's not on the list, but you might enjoy it.
She would love that. Please do so. That is a brilliant idea. But yeah, I think the basic stuff, like some potatoes and the usual stuff shares in there. If we have that, that is a great
And a
start.
couple of eggs and some wheat flour, so you can make
Exactly.
pancakes.
Yeah,
And milk, of
something like
course, milk.
that. And milk and that is the most important. Everything that everything else, don't worry, we will do that.
And the kitchen is fully furnished. I've seen several pots and pans, so she can knock herself out cooking.
That sounds
You'll
like
be wanting for nothing.
paradise.
And if you can drag her away from the range for a day, there are also a couple of really, really nice restaurants. And the hotel that I'm staying at, the kitchen is really good. It's really good. Which brings me to how the work's going. Well, I don't want to bore you with the details, but to tell you the truth, this guy that I'm working for, he definitely needs a lawyer. It's all I'm saying. His contracts are all over the place. He inherited this company from his dad about, I don't know, 5 years ago, and it's a total mess. And now he's entering you will see when you come. There is another big real estate developer, and his name's Joseph P. Murphy. He's actually from New York. He made his money out west, and he's not that well liked. He's Catholic and all, and this being Puritan country, and and he is super rich. You may actually know him, or maybe his family, because like they are New York, well, up and coming society. Well, they're upstarts because obviously Catholic and all that. It's like the Boston Kennedys.
I think I heard his name, but
But
I have never met
he
him.
built the hotel, Murphy's, that I'm staying in. It's actually quite quaint because it's got a capital M and then a capital Y. So it's like MY, and there's an earth in there that's really small. But basically, he's attracting all the tourists, and he's been investing heavily. And now this guy, Morton, is trying to get in on the game, so he's built those chalets, and they are really beautiful. But of course, Murphy can house 100 people at a time. He has 6 chalets, so he's got a long way to go. So now I'm kind of like looking at buying land for him and getting property development rights and that kind of thing, and it's a real mess. But so there is kind of like a little bit of tension between him and Murphy, and I suppose Murphy also kind of, he's got money and he likes throwing it around. So,
Well, Murphy is definitely losing because he's not having you on his team. Mr. Morton is definitely the cleverer
you are
one.
too kind. You're
It
too
just
kind,
takes
Alice.
some time. He has the best help he can hope for. And honestly, the chalet idea seems quite inviting. I love a nice hotel, but it's still nicer to have your own four walls and you can basically do whatever you want. I like
Yeah,
the idea very much,
I agree
so.
with you. I think for people like you or for families, it's
Oh, for
perfect. But for a
families,
bachelor like
it's
me, I like my creature comforts, and it's so nice when the maid comes in the morning and brings you your breakfast into your bedroom. Lovely. And I can tell you, these people can cook. It's a great hotel, but I think for the two of you, the chalet is just the way to go.
so we will definitely meet up in your hotel for
Absolutely,
some kind of
absolutely.
lunch or dinner, whatever fits better for you. And you can bet that I will drag Dottie out for some restaurant testing.
And the good news is next Wednesday, I've taken the day off. So you can make a decision if you want to meet up for lunch or if you want to meet up for dinner or if you even just want to go for a walk on the beach. You know, we can go to one of those cafes. They make really nice lemonade there. So, you know, if you would like to spend some time, I'll be ready. If you don't have time and if you have something else planned, that's fine too. I've got a really good book.
Don't be silly. If you want to hang out and you have time and you don't need like, oh God, I don't want to see people at least for a few hours. I would love to meet up for. I think a cafe sounds really nice, and just having a walk through town, maybe then some lunch, whatever we want. We don't have to plan up front, but definitely let's
I also
keep in
left you a
mind
little bit of a
Wednesday.
leaflet, because they have like evening entertainment. So there is
Okay,
like a Strand hotel that's part of Murphy's too, and they have bands that play in the evening, you know. So if you go for a dinner, you can listen to some music.
that
Um,
sounds lovely.
and there's also some dancing, and they have something, they even have a cinema. I was very surprised. It's a small place, but still, it's a cinema. So if the
Cinema.
two of you fancy going to the cinema, you can do so. It's all there at your doorstep. I mean, it's a two mile, well, it's a 1 mile walk. But I was
Oh,
thinking, I mean, since you can dance so well in spite of your leg, maybe even the walking isn't that bad for your leg either.
I
And
think it's good
the
for
path is
training.
really smooth.
Then I think it's good for training. I need to move around and just get to my usual self. So
That's my Alice.
this
That's
will
kind of what I
be
was expecting. So when I saw the leaflets about the chalets and, you know, the offer, and I was like, I don't really need a break, but I know somebody who really does.
I really appreciate that. It's so welcoming. Dottie is really excited. I am too. And I'm looking forward to just some nice sea air, breeze, some sunshine, some sand between my toes, maybe a nice drink in my hand.
I think that shouldn't be a problem. They do very nice cocktails at Murphy's.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. The only thing, please make sure you are not working too much and you take breaks in between. And please don't forget to eat and drink, darling.
You know what? I have full board at the Murphy's, so that's 3 square meals a day. And I
Perfect.
actually leave my office and I go for lunch at the hotel. I eat and then I go back. I'm
That
sorted.
I am. That is just lovely because sometimes you get quite into the work and forget the time, and then it's evening and you haven't eaten all day, you know. So I'm really glad they are really taking good care.
Well, I mean, if this is going any further, I may have to get a different, you know, like suit because it's already straining at the waistband.
Then we definitely should go for a long walk on Wednesday to get you moving and lose a little bit of pounds.
I'm so looking forward to seeing you this Friday. I'll be at the station, 1648. No need to tell me the platform. There is only the one.
I'm so looking forward. If you need anything that we should bring from New York, just let us know, right? So we can if you need anything.
Actually, I'm good. I mean, I'm not wanting for anything. This place is really doing me a whole lot of good. I'm so content. And you know
Wonderful.
what? Although I'm working hard, the pace is just so much slower because I leave the office because I need to go for lunch because there's lunch between 12 and 1:30, and I walk back and then I work until 6 because dinner is at 6:30 sharp. You know, they've got their times right. So I walk back and then I have dinner, and then I usually go for a walk by the beach. It's perfect. I'm even getting a tan. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm getting a tan.
I will not believe it until I see it with my own eyes.
Well, we'll see each other soon on Friday. I'm looking
I'm
forward to seeing you.
looking forward to it as well. Have a lovely evening, and thank you, Matthew, for organizing everything. And also thank you for the shopping.
No worries, but like, the piccalilli, at
I
some
will
point you
warn
will have
her
to
that a
explain
few
to me what that actually is.
we will show you. We will show you.
Good. And he rings off and he
Yeah.
says his goodbyes and yeah.
Alice will calmly just turn around to Dottie. So good news. It's also cooking with gas. So like
Oh,
here, the
brilliant.
kitchen is fully with pots and pans and everything is there. The freezer box or cooling box is working as fine as well. So we are really well set up.
I'm
Matthew
actually
will.
surprised that Matthew knows how to cook and how to check if the range works.
Well, he asked someone to cook some water to see if it works. He didn't do it himself.
Yeah,
But at least he tried. He tried, so it seems to be working. He will try to organize the shopping, although he's not sure if he can get everything because there are also things on the list he has never heard of in his life before.
like what?
What was it?
Piccalilli.
Piccalilli? Because honestly, I'm not sure if Alice knows what it is. Vicky has no freaking clue what it is.
And I've never eaten it myself, but it's some kind of pickled English stuff that, basically it's pickled gherkins, I believe, and kind of like small bits of like, some small corn pones just put together, and then there's jello around it, and that's piccalilli, and it's yeah, it's an acquired taste, I guess. But she being
It's
Irish, of course,
She would, yeah, but like Piccoli, that he never heard of it, and I'm honestly, the main stuff we need will be there. So like eggs and some flour and milk and some bread and potatoes and all that other stuff. Everything that he can get, he will get, and everything else, I
well,
told
I mean,
him
I
we
will
will
not
do
blame
on
him for not
Saturday.
succeeding if he has been trying.
Yeah, he's really worried. You have him well under your thumb. He doesn't want to make you angry, so he will try his best, believe me.
Well, he'd better not make me angry because all the food that I have ordered is all the food that you like. So obviously, if it's not there, then it will be very difficult for me to, cook you the first dinner and the first breakfast before we can do some shopping on Saturday. But that's not a problem. I'll just run down to Simmons, sorry, not to Simmons, to Simpson's delicacies, and I'll just get some piccalilli, and we will just take it with us.
Do that, and honestly, worst case, we will, for the first evening, we will go out for dinner because there are quite a few restaurants, as it seems there. It's hustling and bustling with life there. We have restaurants, we have bars, we even have a cinema, so there's a lot of things we can do. And then Matthew has to pay for dinner, obviously, if we didn't get the right thing. That's the easy choice.
And she smiles broadly at you. Well, madam, so then I will just get some piccalilli, and everything's packed, so we're ready to go. The train tickets are outside. I've reserved 2 seats. Apparently there is only I'm not sure how this works, but they were saying that there was 3 carts going to Port Arlington, and then from Port Arlington to Simmon Strand there's just the 1 cart, so apparently we're leaving 2 carts behind. So basically I booked seats in first class anyway because that's the cart that's going there. So
It makes sense, first class is the best choice, and Matthew also told me that there will be 2 other families traveling from New York also to Simmon Strand, because they will be living in the other chalets next to us.
also we will be meeting on the train. That could be
It
very nice.
seems so. It might be interesting to see what kind of neighbors we will have for the week. And everything else that Matthew described sounds lovely. We have a view on the sea from the house. We have a private beach, definitely. There, we can basically walk everywhere where we want to walk. It's not wide. It's well well, it sounds like just the loveliest place to be. So I
And she
think
looks
we'll
at you
have a
and
great week
she
ahead.
becomes a little bit earnest for a second. She says, and I think we deserve it.
We definitely deserve it. So much after the hot mess we had to go through. So just having a nice time, relaxing. I will definitely take you out for dinner or lunch here and there. We need to try the restaurants. I'm really curious. And you have the best taste of anyone I know, so we need to figure out which are the really good places, which we
Yeah, they
can
might
remember.
even have a couple of recipes that I haven't cooked yet.
If they're willing to, oh, they will share with you. Why am I even asking?
Well, if they share with me, I will share with them.
So we will see what we can find, because if that place is lovely, we might keep that in mind for maybe next summer as well. Because
Absolutely.
it's not too long of a ride to get there, and
No, I checked. It's 4 minutes. It's sorry, 4 minutes. It's 4 hours and 28 minutes.
that sounds quite close by. And if the place is really up and coming and really nice, we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So she basically puts on her hat and her gloves and her coat because although it's sweltering heat, she will not go outside without a coat because that's inappropriate. And she runs down to Simpson's Delicacies and she comes back with 3 big jars of piccalilli just in case you get stranded there because you never know. It's called Simmon Strand after all. And she puts it all into her suitcase and so that's Wednesday done. You have a couple of things that you want to do on the Thursday. You're meeting girlfriends and boyfriends or female and male friends for
Probably also going to
for
the hair
lunch
salon
and have a
to
tea engagement and so
get my hair cut maybe just before we leave to have everything well prepared.
yeah.
And
Yeah. So you have your hair done and yeah, basically you tell your hairdresser that you're going to Simmons Strand and he's very interested and then he wishes you a pleasant and very relaxing time by the sea and hopes that you will come back soon and sees you off and à bientôt. And and Friday rolls around. Rise and shine, the usual routine. And
today
it's
it's
still
easy to
only
get up.
6:30, and she says, "Well, as soon as we are there, you can sleep in until 7:30. But today is still just a normal day."
All is great. I'm excited to leave, so let's start today. Let's get ready.
There's a huge breakfast because we will not be able to eat much on the train. You know how trains are. So this all needs to be eaten now so that we last until dinner.
I'm sure you will have sandwiches or something like that.
Yeah, but that's different. That is a snack. This is breakfast. And she sits there watching you. And she counts each of the helpings and each of the spoonfuls that you eat.
Alice will humor Dottie and will eat a full and normal breakfast. Not the usual, I will just take 1 or 2 bites and mostly coffee. It's still a lot of coffee, but
well, there
it's
is a lot of
also
coffee.
good food.
I believe she's probably made like 6 pots and they're just basically boiling away and she just refills.
So, coffee, yes, also a good breakfast.
And then a taxi has been called for 11:45 exactly. And it will take you to Grand Central Station in New York. And from there, it is, and here I have a really lovely picture that I found online, of course, of Grand Central. What it looked like in the 30s. I've never been to New York, so I don't really know what it looks like, but if this is anything to go by, it seems to be a really, really great place. Here we are. This is Grand Central in 1930. And you basically make your way to the platform. You have porters that carry your luggage. And there is a train already waiting. And it says Port Arlington. And then in small print, Simmons Strand, first class only. and the porter accompanies you to your car. He helps you into the carriage. He puts in the luggage. He puts the luggage away, so they've got like little compartments where you can sit. And then there's also a little compartment for all of the luggage. So Dottie has planned ahead. So you both have your handbags, of course.
Of course.
But she also has like a hamper, and in this hamper is food, drink, a flask of coffee, water, and everything that you might need. She's also got 2 books, just in case. Basically you sit down, and it's not like the compartment is closed. So it's more like booths. So there is 4 seats to a table. And then you can also see that there are 2 other booths taken. One is occupied by a man and a woman. They look like your age. The way they are comporting themselves, you would say that they definitely have a relationship, and it's an intimate one too. In the 1930s, they're probably married. And then there is 4 people in the next booth, and that is a man and a woman and 2 kids, probably a family, parents and children. And then the conductor comes, and he basically says, yes, this would be Ms. Baker and
Yes.
Ms. Dorothy Williams.
Exactly.
Very well. You will be with us until Simmon Strand, won't you, madam?
Yes.
Very well. So there is only 2 other families, guests traveling with us to Simmon Strand.
I know.
We will be separating 2 carriages at Port Arlington, and we'll just continue with this one. So there will be a little bit of a stopover in Port Arlington. We generally recommend that you do not leave the train, because it's only going to be a short stopover, but there will be a short stopover nonetheless. And there will be some noise when we do the decoupling, so not to worry yourselves, it is just normal routine.
Thank you so much for the information and warning. And you can bet that I will be hanging outside of the window to curiously at least look at what is happening.
What are you wearing? This is me asking.
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
What are you wearing? I think she's basically wearing traveling clothes, which would be like a tweed suit, but women's style.
So a skirt.
So no,
Okay.
it will be trousers.
Okay.
But more in a feminine cut. Also the jacket and the vest, more feminine cut with some. It's summertime. I think just with some nice half open shoes. I'm not sure what kind of shoes they would wear during that time, but definitely summer and easygoing shoes. And but yeah, tweed at the moment, even though it's summer. But she would go with that because we're traveling and it needs a bit sturdy, and tweed is good for that. So I think the first thing when we get there is probably changing in a more relaxed.
Okay,
nice
so
way.
when you say that you will be hanging out the window to look at what's going on, he kind of looks at you, and he kind of takes a little bit of a not step back, but well, madam, please be advised that the outside of the train gets quite dirty during the journey, and
don't
your
worry.
clothes might.
It's not my first train ride. I am used to this.
Of course not, madam.
I will be careful. I will not be in the way, but don't be worried or frightened if you see me just looking outside, because I'm
You can tell that
curious,
he's
I like
worried
to
and
learn.
frightened already.
thank you so much for your help.
And if there is anything that you need, I will be going through the train every 30 minutes. And if there is anything that you need or want, you just let me know, and I will be sure to. And there is, of course, hot drinks and beverages that we will be serving at the table.
Thank you so much. We will give note if we need anything.
Thank you so much, madam. And then he continues on to the next booths, and he says the same things. And you
The moment he's talking to them, since he named us, Alice will be like hanging at the edge, just like, who are the others? And we'll try to catch their names.
So there is Mr. and Mrs. Jason P. Martin. That's
Jason
the group
P. Martin.
with the children.
Oh, that's with the children, okay.
And then the Sterling family.
That's the couple.
That's the couple. And you kind of overhear that they are on their honeymoon. They're newlyweds. And it shows. They live for each other. And so and then he basically steps outside, and then in due course, you hear all aboard, and you hear the slamming of doors, and you hear a whistle, like very traditional, and then the train starts and starts gathering momentum and leaves the station, and off you go. And so you know from Dottie, because she's told you that it's going to be 4 hours and 28 minutes exactly, because you leave at 12:20 and you actually leave on time, because she is of course checking,
obviously,
and then it's and it's 4 hours 28 minutes traveling time. She informs you that it's about that the train does about, and I have not checked this, but it kind of, so basically it's 60 miles per hour that you cover. So in 4 hours, that's 240 miles. So it's about 300. Well, it's close to 300k from New York City. And so you leave New York behind, and then it's the normal upstate New York. Back then, I believe, I haven't checked, that it's actually still quite foresty in those days, and there are hamlets here and there, and there is of course also some agriculture, and you are traveling, and so you settle back into your seats, and what do?
Alice will just settle back and will enjoy the view, basically. She loves the change of scenery, just enjoying nature, because honestly, in the middle of New York City, there's not much of that left.
Except Central Park, but
but it's still a park. It's not the same as here. And also, I'm quite sure after the first 5 minutes, Dottie is starting to set up the table. So I'm enjoying
lunch hour.
My cup of coffee, just enjoying the view. Telling also Dottie if she wants to just read or lean back, just relax. It's also your holiday.
She takes out some knitting.
Perfect. Something that Alice never really was into, but let her have the fun of knitting. And Alice will just really enjoy the view, and that's it. It's holiday.
Yeah. And although the Martins have children, they are extremely well behaved. They're about 8 and 10, maybe. They are very quiet. They basically are talking, but quietly. And then at some point, the mother starts reading a fairy tale to them, also in a very quiet voice. So it's enjoyable.
That is really nice.
And you can see Dottie is very content.
Good.
And she's also nibbling at a sandwich, but she doesn't travel often or at all.
Well, with me, she will have to learn here and there. Well, we did smaller trips, I guess, but not big ones. This is
Yeah, this is
probably
a big
quite a
one for
big one
her.
for her, and not for me. But hey, and but she will just need. We still have a few hours left. On when we get there, she will be the pro in traveling on train. She will
Yeah.
be relaxed, especially with such nice company that is not getting on your nerves.
But every time that the train whistle blows or whenever there's kind of like the train starts shaking, you can see that she's kind of holding on to her seat. And you know, she does you know, she may have dropped one or two of the stitches. So yeah, but it's the sandwiches are of course perfect. There is piccadilly on some of them as you like it, and yeah, so slowly but
Alice
surely.
we'll just let her be, and we'll also not point anything out. She will just, if she has questions, she will say something, and Alice will be just relaxed, not even moving. With all the noises so far sound totally normal for a train.
It's yeah, and it's you know it. I mean, this is what train travel sounds like when you're traveling upstate. So it's and you know every so often there's an oncoming train, and of course, as you know, that is really noisy. And the first time
Yeah.
this happens, Dottie actually
She has a half a heart attack.
yeah,
Poor girl.
because obviously then you know there's also this how they basically seem to be moving towards each other.
Yeah.
But you know, she stops knitting at some point, and she pretends that everything's fine, and yeah, and she drinks maybe a little too much coffee. But after a while, once you really get out into the open countryside, she looks outside and she really enjoys it because she is from New York and she's not really, you know, been outside the city limits. So this is really very different for her.
Alice will calmly just, between looking outside and enjoying the view herself, she will also just smile, probably slightly, just enjoying also that Dottie is enjoying the view. And yeah, it's just the start into a great vacation.
And yeah, so every so often, as promised, every 30 minutes, the guy comes around and asks if people want hot beverages or anything. But he only asks the once, and then he just shows up. So he doesn't keep asking, but basically he basically
He's
gives
there
this
in
attentive
case
look
someone.
to see is there anything that he can do for you. But if the Sterlings actually do order something, and they order champagne.
Newlyweds.
Yes, indeed. They order champagne, the newlyweds, and you can hear the clinking of glasses, and you know. And so time goes by. Is there anything else you would like to do? Okay. So you reach Port Arlington. Port Arlington, Port Arlington. Everybody for Port Arlington, please get off now. And you can hear the porters bustling and taking out the luggage, and you see that people are waiting on the platform for people to arrive, and you know, kissing each other hello and that kind of thing. And then it's time for the decoupling. So do you really
I
yeah.
think the moment we arrive and the train stops, Alice will just. I quite imagine it's like in the older trains where it just can pull down the window as we
absolutely,
see it in the
absolutely.
movies. And she will just be leaning out, and she will be just watching people on basically stepping out and arriving, and she's a PI and B extremely curious and likes to see what people are doing, so she will have a look for that. And then the decoupling, she will definitely lean outside a bit more and will try to see something. Honestly, I'm quite sure from inside of the train there's not much to see.
I have no idea how this was actually done in those days because
But the
I
decoupling
know
is in the middle between
yeah, I
the
think it
wagon.
actually happens between the train tracks. There is this
Yeah.
thing that comes up and just pushes the two
Yeah.
apart. But
There's not much to
obviously,
see.
there are people who are basically standing by and you know that kind of thing,
Making
and you
sure
tell
everything-
who they are because they're wearing some kind of uniform, and it is quite dirty because obviously that would be I believe that would be a steam train, so there would be coal and there would be smoke. And Dottie is pointing out that you are
Alice doesn't care.
But
You
madam,
can wash it. It's
your right sleeve, I can see it already. There is already some coal dust there. Madam, would you want to come back? And she basically pulls at you.
Alice is quite tempted to just... No, she's not tempted, honestly. She will probably just take her finger just at the edge of the train to just have it, and we'll just smear it on her face. And we'll just lean out again, and we'll just be like, this is... It's a good... It's only cold dirt. It's not like I would die from this.
Yeah, but it's going to look terrible. And I mean, your face, you're ruining your face.
It's a traveling look, darling. It's really... Just enjoy yourself.
You can tell that she is tempted to get out a handkerchief, spit on it, and just clean you.
Alice
like
is very
Mum
tempted to
do.
do this again and just give her a bit of coal dust as well, although that might overstep some boundaries, and she doesn't want to stress her more than ever. But she will just hang outside and
Well, she
will
is
wait.
actually quite surprised that you do this, and she forgets to actually pull her head back, so she's now got this smudge
Perfect.
of coal on her face.
Perfect.
And you can tell that she's amused, but she doesn't want to acknowledge this, so she's giving you this kind of huffy look, which you know she's putting on when she doesn't mean it, but she doesn't want to accept that actually something funny has happened.
Dottie dear, we're on vacation. We are not at a city. We can do whatever we like.
But certainly a modicum of propriety still needs to be maintained. You have a name and a reputation.
We're not in New York. No one knows me out here.
But they soon will.
True.
There's the lady from New York with a maiden who can't even look after her mistress's sleeves, and
You are much more than a maiden. Don't put yourself lower
but
than
people
you
don't
are.
know this.
They will know. Be sure of that.
She's basically she's she's a little bit flustered.
In New
And
York, the people that know me are more. You are much more than a maiden. That would be not paying you enough credit on all the work you're doing. You are basically my right hand and my assistant.
she blushes.
Good.
Good, good. And then you hear the conductor say, train to Simmon, Strand, all aboard, leaving now, close the doors, and you hear the doors slamming shut, and you hear the whistle, and you hear the choo, 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 as the train gathers steam and momentum and leaves the station.
For a few moments, she will still lean outside of the window. She pulled a bit back. She's not leaning out that much, but still like having the nose in the wind, just like enjoying it. And then she will just close the window and just sit down again. And just lean back and probably get another drink of coffee. If
There
there's
is
something
plenty
left.
of coffee, and it's one of those thermos flasks, because I'm pretty sure they had them back then. So the idea
Yeah,
of
I think.
insulating with air, I think, is something that existed back then already.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you've got hot coffee, you've got still a couple of sandwiches left. It's going to be another 70 minutes or so until you reach Simmons Strand. And at that moment, the lady from the newlywed couple walks past you. Please make a spot hidden roll.
Oh god. Spot hidden. Where's my character sheet? That is a hard success.
4 months pregnant.
Oh boy. Scandalous.
Yes, it is.
Alice will just shake her head. She will not say anything, especially not with Mrs. Sterling next to me. Although honestly, when she passes, Alice would probably be just like, "Congratulations, Miss Sterling."
Okay, let's see what she says. She rolls a 70. I doubt that this is her stability. She's a little bit like, yes, I'm very happy about getting married to my husband too.
Your wedding and pregnancy, that's the biggest and best combination ever. Congratulations.
Okay, you can see that she did not expect this, and she's doing something like, she's basically she the stuff she's wearing is she's wearing a costume. And of course, it's got a blazer with it. So she's basically pulling the blazer kind of like, and deep breathes deeply and then moves on. And Dottie is like, but she only got married. How is she pregnant?
Well, you know you can get pregnant without being married. That's not difficult.
Well, certainly not before you get married.
Well, if you're Catholic, no. If you're not Catholic, well, it's not the best way, but hey, she's married. When the child comes, there will be dad and a happy family, and no one will care.
My mother would not stand for this.
After all I heard from her, I can't imagine that, but, well, people need fun in their life.
Certainly going out and going dancing is enough fun until you get married.
You are just the pure sweetest heart.
Oh, she is. She is. She's so Catholic and she's so pure. And she's only like, I mean, she is 20 years. She's 21. She's just basically come of age. So she's, she's been with you for a long time because,
Yeah.
but she's 23. So she's young. Yeah. She's a lot younger. Well, not a lot younger, but she's younger than you are. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm quite sure she, at least from time to time, she has lived through me having guests overnight in my bedroom.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if she actually understands what that means.
I don't think she would if she doesn't want to. She doesn't even want to think about it probably because it would make life much more difficult for her.
Yeah. Or maybe she's actually 25. We never really established how old she was, did we?
We only said she was in her 20s, I think.
In her 20s.
And she was younger definitely
Yeah,
than
she's
I
definitely younger than you are. So she's definitely innocent and pure, but she's not stupid. But this is one of the things where, you
Yeah, I
simply
would not
don't
push
get
that,
pregnant
no.
out of wedlock. This is 1930s and she's Catholic and she's Irish, so you don't.
Even without, just in society, it's a tricky thing
Yeah.
to be, and yeah. But, well, 4 months, they will manage to work it out. She's married now, all is well.
She looks at you and she says, well, I hope he's the father.
Well, he definitely will be when the child is there.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and my answer is still the same.
Sometimes I really don't understand how your parents cope with you.
They don't very well, as you know. We just stay out of each other's business.
Yeah, that is true. When was the last time you saw your mother? That one stung.
You probably will say it is far too far away, and I said it's much too close nearby. So we will see. Probably end of the year we will see. I don't know when we will see them.
You didn't even tell her that you got shot.
She doesn't need to know. I'm still alive.
So what would you have me do if you had died, God forbid? How would I have explained it to your mother?
Just tell her the truth. She will have to live with it. She knows I'm doing what I want. It has always been like that. It will always be like that. I will not be the daughter they want. I will not be the one being married, having a happy family with 5 kids around me.
But maybe you could write them a postcard from Simmon, Strand.
Okay, let's do that.
And she cheers up. Because you do know that for her, family is really important. And I mean, she comes from typically Irish large family, so she's got several brothers and sisters, and she does see her family quite regularly. And of course, they go to mass together on Sundays, so this is. And while she is fine with your lifestyle, this kind of like very distant relationship you have with her parents, almost physically hurts her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she doesn't bring it up often, but when she does, she gets really serious.
Yeah, I know it bugs her, and Alice is torn between, well, it makes life easier, but still, yeah, other people have a good connection to the family, as difficult family always is. But Alice goes with, I'm choosing my family myself, and my family are my best friends, is Dottie, and all the people around me, and that's much easier to handle.
Yeah. And so... and you can see Mrs. Sterling walk past you again. This time, basically,
Alice will just nod and smile friendly,
holding onto her blazer, and then you can hear her whisper with her husband.
Alice will curiously, probably just
give me a
listen
listen
and see if she can understand anything, because she is still curious.
Yeah,
she doesn't
nosy
really even.
might be the right word.
Nosy is the right word.
The thing is, you're not curious. You're nosy.
She's not really judging it, to be honest.
No,
That's totally fine for her, but she's just curious on any kind of information. And listen is no, that's
so you just hear them talking. And,
yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you hear that they're talking, but you can't make out what they're.
Then Alice will lean back and just bite into a bit of sandwich again, and just will look outside again, enjoying the view.
And then eventually you hear the conductor say, Simmon Strand, we will be arriving in 10 minutes in Simmon Strand. Simmon Strand, last stop Simmon Strand. We will be arriving in Simmon Strand in 10 minutes. And then you can also feel that the train is starting to decelerate. And of course, if you have been looking outside, which I believe you have, you have noticed now that you're not too far away from the coast now, and the train line is actually following the coast. So, and you can see the sea in the distance.
Okay, so here and there you see the blue peeking through.
You see the blue and the blue. You see the blue of the sky and meeting the blue of the ocean, of the Atlantic. And then you're pulling into the station. And the conductor shows up and he says, ladies and gentlemen, we have just arrived in Simmon Strand. This is our final destination. I hope that you will have a very, very pleasant stay, and we will be welcoming you again soon on board this train back to New York City. And then porters come in and they start taking out the luggage, and basically the conductor helps you all off the train, the ladies, of course. The two of you go first because you're the only two ladies that are not accompanied by a man. So, and he basically helps you out. And there's the porters already waiting with your luggage. And so, where to, miss?
My friend should be just. Oh dear. Will we get the stuff in his? We didn't think this through, did we? Just give me a second, and Alice will try to see if she can see Matthew.
Okay. There are several people at the station on the platform, so give me a spot hidden.
See? That is... She sees nothing. That was a 98.
There are plenty of people, but Matthew...
A lot of people.
One of them. And
how's Dottie doing?
Passes, but she's basically... I can't see him anywhere.
That is weird.
She looks at there's a big clock
Yeah.
obviously it's a straight train. She said, but the train is on time, and he knows when the train arrives. That is strange. And at that moment in time, you see a man coming towards you,
Yeah.
towards the group of people, basically, because there is only these three passenger groups. There is nobody else. There are plenty of people milling about because there is apparently in Port Arlington, not only did two carriages get decoupled, but they coupled another carriage to the train, which you also saw. And that is a freight carriage. So
Okay.
there is goods that are being unloaded
Yep.
now. There is lots of people, receiving goods. There's some mail sacks. There is some, food stuffs, barrels, that kind of thing. You name it. And a man comes towards you. He looks like he is in his early 30s, maybe 33, 34. And he says, welcome to Simmon Strand, honored guests. My name is Giles Morton. I'm the owner of the chalets that you will be staying at, and I would like to welcome you personally to our lovely village. And I would like to show you around and make sure that you get to your chalets safely. So I have arranged for transport, but please join me for a couple of refreshments. And he basically he snaps his fingers, and the porters take all of your luggage. And there is kind of like a side waiting room, because it is a train station after all. It's not grand, but it's clean, and it's it's reasonably nice. And you can see that there is a table, and there is lemonade on it, and there is champagne, and some biscuits and some finger food and whatnot. And he says, well, I am so pleased to meet you. You will be my first guests at the new chalets that have just opened. So this is very exciting for me. Do you have any questions about Simmon Strand? Is there anything that you would like me to explain to you? And the Martins basically say, well, we're so glad to be here, and we're really looking forward to this. And he says, there are two options now. You can either rent a car from me, basically just the rent is just a pittance. You will have to pay for the petrol and then just some money for repairs, or I will have one of my people drive you to the chalets. From there, it's just a 2-mile walk into the town, and of course you have your private beach. And we have already made sure that everything is in order. You will have a gas range, there will be an ice box, we have put in some food, just to tide you over until tomorrow, when I'm pretty sure all of you will want to go food shopping anyway. There is also, and he hands each one of you a leaflet of things that are happening in the next it's like a 7-day program, starting always on a Saturday and then up until the following Friday, of things that you can do. And he says, and tonight there is going to be a pantomime at the beach, just in case the children would like to join us. It starts at 6 o'clock, so we will just make it if we leave in the not too distant future, and I will just take you to your houses, and then I can bring you straight back, and you can enjoy the pantomime, or you can just relax. And of course, and then he turns around and he walks away, and he comes back with a huge hamper. Congratulations on your marriage, dear Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. And it's like a food hamper, and you can see, oh, there is some caviar in there, there is some champagne, there is some other food, and oh my god, there are crabs, fresh crabs. And the Sterlings just beam at everyone, and she has kind of recovered from the fact that you have noticed that she's pregnant, and she's kind of probably regained a little bit of her self-assuredness, and he basically says something to her very quietly. You don't hear it, and she's like, yes, I agree. And she turns around, she says, my husband and I would like to invite you all for dinner in our chalet tonight, because this is way too much for just the two of us, and it would be lovely to, if you don't have any other plans, to just spend the first evening together and enjoy these great food stuffs from the Garden of Poseidon. And the Martins start applauding, and
Alice definitely will be applauding as well. It's not working with
yeah,
what I have. It's a bit difficult.
Dottie's looking at the food, and she's like, those are really big crabs. They look really delicious.
Yeah, and we will enjoy them. So
Yes, we will.
thank you so much for the invitation, Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. That is lovely to offer from you.
And Dottie looks at them and she says, well, if you need any help in the kitchen, I would be more than happy to assist.
She's an amazing cook, so...
Mrs. Sterling beams at the both of you. Everything has been forgotten. And she was like, yes, I would like that. I have never cooked crabs before.
Then we will help. And I can help to prep the room if you want to.
And she beams at you, and Mr. Sterling's like, splendid! So we have the evening settled. That is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to this. And he turns again to Mr. Morton. He says, I am so grateful, sir. This is magnificent. I shall mention this with my friends. I really can recommend this already. And then, you know, you can help yourselves to refreshments if you like. You know, the kids all take an orange juice lemonade thingy, and Dottie also gets some of the lemonade, and she nips and she's like, that's very nice lemonade. You would like this. And she gets you a glass, and it is nice lemonade.
Alice would take a glass of champagne.
Well, she offers you that too, but go on, you really want to taste the lemonade because it's really good.
I will do in a second, and as soon as Alice has, probably would you just swoop a glass of champagne and then walk over to Mr. Morton.
Yes, Ms. Baker, I assume?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Mr. Morton, so much for offering my friend Matthew the lovely chalet, and that we can now participate in it.
Yes.
He was very thankful, and I am extra thankful that I now have the chance to just enjoy the time here, because everything he told me, that it sounds like the best place to be in summer. So I'm really looking forward. I'm really
happy to hear that.
Just to be curious, do you have any idea? He wanted to pick us up. Did he? Is he stuck at work? Do you know anything about that?
As a matter of fact, I haven't seen him in 2 days. He's got his own office. He's working from the hotel. So I haven't seen him, but also we didn't have any appointments over the last 2 days. We have something planned for Monday, when we wanted to go over a couple of planning permissions, or applications, I should say. I'm still waiting for planning permission. It's still at the application stage, and he wanted me to sign some papers. So no, unfortunately I haven't.
Okay. Then, yes, then...
Well, would you like me to ring the hotel?
If you could, please, because it's not like him not showing up.
Oh, no, I've only... well, I have met him like 3 times, and he was almost early every time we had an appointment. So why don't you take a seat, and I will sort this out for you.
Thank you so much.
Bows. He doesn't kiss your hand, but he bows and he walks out. And you can see him, if you follow him with your eyes, that he's talking to the station master, and the station master nods and points somewhere, and then he basically walks out of view. Do you think Dottie has overheard what you have been saying? Or was it kind of like quiet and to the side, or?
Well, it was not yelled out, but it was not really quiet. So Dottie, she's at my heels as usual, probably. So she definitely heard it. I'm not sure if the rest of the other people, they obviously don't even know Matthew, but I'm quite sure Dottie heard it.
And lifts one eyebrow and looks at you without saying anything.
Alice will just shrug her shoulders and just,
Yeah. So you don't really have to exchange any words because, she asked a question and you answered.
The thing
Um,
is, Alice looks worried because this is definitely not like Matthew. At least he would send someone. That could have happened. I'm stuck at work. I will send someone, or
or a
like,
message or something.
yeah, or Mr. Morton was, yeah, I talked to him. He's busy. I'm really sorry. He asked me to just swoop you with the others, and that would have been fine. But just like nothing is not the Matthew I heard on Wednesday.
So, a couple of minutes later, Mr. Morton returns and walks swiftly towards you, and he says, I am very sorry, Miss Baker, but I've rung the hotel, and they have informed me that they haven't seen him since Wednesday evening. It could be that basically he kept the key on him at all times, and maybe the girl on desk duty tonight just wasn't on duty when he came in and left over the last couple of days. But at the moment, the person at reception says that the key is not there and he is not in his room. They checked. They sent someone and there is no answer and the door is locked.
Okay, then I would like to use your service that our luggage is brought to the chalet, including my assistant Dottie, and if you could drop me on the way, or if someone could drop me at the hotel, that would really be lovely.
Of course, madam, that won't be a problem at all.
Can you tell me where his office is as well, just to make sure?
It's another room in the hotel, so basically...
Okay, so the hotel will know.
Well, I had to rent from...
I know. It's not the best setup.
It's adjoining rooms. So he's using one bedroom as his office and one bedroom for sleeping.
Then yeah, I will just have a look at the hotel, and because I talked to him on Wednesday, he was totally fine and excited.
Well, like I said, I have no idea what's happening. It's just, I'm very busy and so is he, so we didn't really see the need to
totally fine that you don't check in, but I
saw him on Wednesday morning, as a matter of fact, because I dropped off some paperwork to him and he seemed fine.
Well, we will figure it out. Dottie dear, it would be lovely if you could go to the chalet, set everything up and help the Sterlings, and I will just have a double check at the hotel and then join you later.
How will you manage to get to the chalets though?
Either I will walk or I will ask if someone can drive me.
She looks at you quizzically and she says, but you don't know where they are. Maybe you should find someone local?
Yeah, I will figure something out. Don't worry about that.
She manages not to look worried.
Which is good, because Alice is looking worried as hell.
And then she says, as you wish. And the porters, and then a couple of people come in. One of them is wearing a chauffeur's, hat and everything. And the Sterlings have actually decided to rent a car. The Martins... Give me a spot hidden, please, on the Martins.
That is a hard success.
Okay. The Martins are city dwellers.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say that he's probably a blue-collar worker.
Mm-hmm.
So they would not be able to afford the chalets. They would also not be able to afford a car. You doubt that they can even drive. So they are dressed appropriately, but you can see that the clothes are not... I mean, there is some darning on one of his trouser legs. So, they're clean and everything, but these are not well-off people. So obviously they would not be able to afford a car. So, and they are very glad, and they basically get into the car, and the Sterlings offer Dottie to go with them, and Dottie thinks for a second, and she says, "All right," and gets in the car with them, and the porters put her luggage and your luggage into the Sterling's car. And Mr. Sterling turns towards you and says, "I will make sure that your associate gets to the chalet in one piece, and I will also carry in the luggage. And I look forward to seeing you tonight."
Thank you kindly, and see you later.
And they get in the car and drive off, and the chauffeur takes the Martins, and they drive off. And then Mr. Morton looks at you and he says, "Well then, if you would like to go to the hotel now, I will accompany you, because it is literally just 5 minutes down the road."
That would be lovely. Thank you very much. And then I can also get a feeling of where everything is.
And he holds the door for you. He is the perfect gentleman, and he waits for you to walk through, and then he basically says, I hope you will be enjoying the stay here in Simmon Strand. If you have any questions about the town, just feel free to ask me. I've lived here all my life.
It has grown to this place in the last years, hasn't it? Because I didn't know about Simmon Strand before. And after all I've heard, even having a cinema, that sounds just like an amazing place for vacation for us city dwellers.
Yes, we're doing what we can. It's I think that maybe this time round the city dwellers were a lot quicker at grasping what we've got here, and they moved in first, so now we're trying to catch up. But I think, nouveau riche, what can I say? Making the money in the West and then just going upstate New York and, building a hotel. But we're trying.
Oh, the chalet idea is genius. It's really for some people, especially like the I flipped it over. Like the Martin family or any family, a hotel is probably not as nice as a chalet. And also for me, a chalet sounds much nicer than a hotel.
And this is what I'm thinking.
I love that. There will always be people that prefer a hotel. Matthew obviously is someone like that. But I definitely like a chalet because it still feels a little bit like my home. I don't have people running around in my bedroom that I don't know. And it's really, really nice. And I'm really looking forward to see this place, to test out the restaurants, because Matthew was over the moon about all the good food.
Yes, it's all local produce. We try to concentrate on what we have here. I mean, we've got what did she call it? A feast from Poseidon's garden. I think that's very nicely put. Yes.
And the crabs look delicious. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, if you like crabs and seafood in general, you should really go down to the harbor. You can get fresh catch every day.
We will definitely do that tomorrow because my assistant Dottie loves cooking and she's the most brilliant cook I know. So I'm looking forward to a nice week full of good food, fresh sea, air, and some sand between my toes.
And you will get all of this here, Ms. Baker, I can assure you. Oh, and here we are already. And you can see it's actually a really large hotel, but it's nice. I mean, it's not overly pompous, and it is built in a style that kind of is reminiscent of the seaside resorts that you might have seen pictures of in like Brighton. So it's kind of like this longish building with kind of like those round windows, very tall windows, and it's a one-story building. So everything is on the ground floor, so you can see it's broad, but you also are guessing that it's probably quite deep as well. And the name actually is it looks weird because it's like a huge M and a huge Y and just a tiny Murph in there.
Murphy.
So it looks more like an MY, and then you can see
MY.
in between. And he says, Murphy's Hotel.
Well, thank you for the lovely walk and
Pleasure was
the
all mine.
really lovely just welcoming us here. I would just be curious in case we would need a car maybe in the next days just for a day. Do you know where we could just like rent a car?
Oh, you could rent one from me if you just well, I mean, and he basically turns around and he points, and just basically almost like literally opposite the Murphys is Giles Morton, real estate developer. That's my office.
Perfect.
So if you need anything, you just go in there and you just speak to my secretary, and I will let her know that you may come to ask for a car. She will take the deposit and she will make sure that you get a good car.
Thank you so much for the offer because maybe
Not at
for
all.
a day it would be nice to make like a tour maybe outside of the city.
Absolutely, I can
That
really
might be fun.
recommend this. And he looks around and he points out, you know, that there are some bookshops and souvenir shops. He says, and you can get some maps here as well. And we even have a couple of books written about the town. So, you know, like about sites in the environment, you know, in the surroundings, and you know, you just enjoy yourself.
I love the idea. I love the idea. And yeah, then have a lovely rest of the day. I'm
And you
quite sure
too.
we will meet again while we're
I
here.
would hope so.
And thank you for your support. And Alice will give him a big friendly smile. Will
And you
turn
bow,
around.
and he smiles at you, and then he says, "And I shall take my leave now. If you need anything, you know where my office is."
I know where your office is. Thank you so much, Mr. Morton. And she will go to the hotel and go for the reception.
And here we take a short break, 5 minutes, and then we will go into Murphy's Hotel.
Let's do that. Mr. Gregory.
And here we are back. You are in Simmon, Strand, outside of Murphy's Hotel. You've just said your goodbyes to Mr. Giles Morton, who has accompanied you to his rival's abode, as it were. And you're standing in front of a really grand hotel, and there is a bellboy, and he opens the door for you.
Alice will nicely nod, thank you, and she will go directly for the reception area.
It's very easy because it just says reception, and it's a huge desk. And behind it is a young woman dressed in kind of like a uniform, and it has like an MY on the. So she's got a name badge, and her name is Sandy, and it says MY. Yes, madam. How can I help you? Welcome to the Murphy's Hotel.
Thank you so much. Mr. Morton already rang. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Gregory. He is living here
Yes.
for a few days. And I am honestly a bit worried that he's not here because we just arrived and he was planned in to pick us up. And it's not like him to not show up without information.
Oh, I am so sorry. I have, madam, I have made inquiries, and it really seems like he left on Wednesday and hasn't returned since. Nobody has seen him, and the door to his rooms, to his adjoining rooms, are both locked.
Even if they're locked, I'm quite sure you as hotel have like a master key.
I'm afraid I cannot really grant you access to a guest's room.
The question is, have you looked inside? Not that he's fainted on the floor and slowly dying in there.
As a matter of fact, we have not looked inside through the door. We have looked in through the windows. There is no one inside, madam.
Are you sure we can't have a look, even if someone is just with me? I just want to see if the
I'm
stuff
truly
is still
sorry. I
there.
would, you will have to take this up with the manager. I'm afraid I cannot make this kind of a decision.
Please, could you?
Why don't you sit down over there,
Thank
and
you
I will
so
be right
much.
back. And you do you go over there where she's
Yeah,
pointing?
she's
Okay.
just pointing there,
So there's
sitting
like a
down.
seating area with like those low chairs and low tables, you know, the ones that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 3 or 4 of those, so little groups. And as soon as you sit down, a waitress appears and says, "Yes, madam, what can I bring you?"
Glass of water, please.
Of course. And she walks away and she returns with a um, silver salver, and on it is a really nice crystal glass full of water and a carafe also full of water. And she puts both on the table and says, "Anything else, madam?"
At the moment, no, thank you. But Alice will give her like a tiny tip. I think at least a few dollars she will have in her handbag, so she will just give her a tiny tip, just
Thank
to be
you so
nice.
much.
You never
If
know.
there's anything you need, just make eye contact.
Thank you very, very much.
And she retires, and she's standing there in the corner, and she's basically looking around for other people, and anybody who sits down, she will approach their tables and, you know, serve them. And maybe about 5 minutes or so later, the young lady, Sandy, approaches together with a man in his 50s, and he says, "Yes, madam. I've been told that you're inquiring after Mr. Gregory, one of our guests. Is that correct?"
Exactly. Baker is my name, and she would just
And
put
he
out her
takes
hand to shake it.
says it, and
Alice
bows.
is still like, okay. Mr. Gregory is a very close and dear friend of mine, and he organized for us to visit this lovely town, and he was due to pick us up at the train station when we arrived. He was not there. That's not him. He's on point, always, in time or too early. I am really, really worried for him, so I would really love if I could have a look in his room or his office, or probably both. I am totally fine with someone being with me in the room because I don't want to steal anything. I just want to see if I can find a clue on where the hell he is, because he's definitely not back in New York.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
He doesn't sneeze. I am very sorry to hear this, Miss Baker. I'm afraid you will understand that privacy is one of the most important things that a hotel needs to provide to its guests. So I'm afraid unless you have written permission from Mr. Gregory to enter his rooms,
How should I get permission from him if he's missed?
I'm afraid I cannot really let you in. He may not even be missing. It could be that he has taken a car and driven.
Excuse me, you don't know him very well, obviously. He is missing, definitely.
Okay, now let's get some dice out. Give me a...
Stern but very serious.
Okay, I leave it up to you. Are you trying to intimidate him? Are you trying to persuade him? Or are you trying to fast talk him?
I think it's persuasion. What is it? I don't think intimidation, because Alice is not intimidating.
Well, I mean, you did say, excuse me.
Well, that's
Okay,
true.
go ahead. Roll.
My goal is to get in there. That would be persuasion, but yeah, you're right. It's kind of intimidation. Let's do intimidation. My stats are horrible in that, but...
No, I mean, it's up to you, but it did come across kind of
yeah,
like...
no, that's true,
"Excuse
that's
me?"
true. Let's do the stat that fits. And honestly, the dice are with me. I will spend 2 points of luck and then I have a hard success.
Okay,
I rolled a 9.
now I get to use my cards. Because look what I have. Like 1 gazillion NPCs. And they are fully statted too, so that's really cool. So
That is
we are
cool.
going to pick a man.
Yeah. Did he have a name? I didn't write it down.
Well, not yet.
Okay.
His name is
It's hopefully not Mr. Murphy.
Sebastian Crickleshank.
Perfect name.
So you okay, so let's see. That would be an opposed roll. Now, what would he be rolling on? That's a good question because you are trying to persuade him, so he gets a roll to
Oh no, it's intimidation.
Okay,
A roll to
but then he still
intimidation.
gets a roll. There is no willpower, is there? No.
No.
You had a hard success in intimidate.
Mm-hmm.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 9 and I
Oh,
spent
wow.
2 luck
Okay.
to
Yes.
get to my 7. And
Okay.
is it no, psychology is also not the right thing. Power is magic, dex size, education, intelligence. That would be. That's a good question. I never thought about that.
Because, in other games you have like willpower or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Composure or something like that.
Well, it's a question if you just roll d.
I'm just going to roll a
100
D100
and
it's
see
really
what
low.
yeah.
Well, it's a 66. I mean,
Which?
no, even if we took POW, it would make sense. He would still not have passed.
Okay.
So, yeah, no.
Just to let you know before, I'm a private investigator as well, and my next visit will be at the police. So if you want that, I will come with a full police guard to get into the room. I'm fine with that as well. I'm not sure if the rest of you guests will be happy about it.
Well, madam, it is highly unusual to permit someone without written permission from the room's occupant inside without the room's occupant present. Would you mind signing a statement?
I'm totally fine with
We
that.
discussed this and that you
Yes.
are aware of this, but that you feel that there is foul play possibly afoot and that you request that we
Yes.
open the room for you.
Yes, and if it helps, I can also get some paperwork from his assistant later on that she will vouch for me as well to make you feel better.
I would appreciate this very
is-
much.
So then, while you set up the paper, would I have the chance to use a phone to call her? Because she's obviously back in New York, but she can send over like a telegram or something.
Of course, Sandy, would you show the phone to the lady, please? And Sandy is basically looking between the two of you, following this conversation. She's completely kind of like, oh my god, I hope I can get off soon and go home because this is getting crazy. And she basically shows you where the phone is. It's interesting. They have it's like a phone booth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a little chair in it, and there's a phone. And you can make and receive calls if you go to reception and let them know. And she says, well, madam, you just dial 0 for the operator.
Thank you very, very much for your help. Much appreciated. And Alice will just sit down, call for the operator. And we'll just ask to be put through to Matthew's office.
And his secretary answers the phone. Yes.
Baker.
Oh, yes, Miss Baker. How are you? How do you do?
I'm worried, to be honest. I just arrived in Simmon Strand, and Matthew did not show up to pick us up. That is
Mr.
not
Gregory
like him.
hasn't shown up. That is
No, he
unusual.
hasn't. I was just two things. I was curious, when was the last time you heard of him?
Well, we spoke on. Well, I last saw him on Monday when he handed over a list. When I handed over the shopping list to him, and I spoke to him on Tuesday. He let me know that he arrived well and in one piece, and that he was, and that everything was to his satisfaction, and that you know, everything seemed fine. He had all of the necessary papers because we were worried that there might be something missing and I might need to send something down to him, but that has not been the case. So I haven't spoken to him since Tuesday, but I did not expect to hear from him either.
Okay, then the last time he was seen around here was Wednesday evening. We have Friday now.
Yes.
This is also not like him. You know how in time he is.
He's always punctual, yes. I mean, he's a lawyer, he has to be.
I asked in the hotel if I could look at his room and at his office to find some kind of hint maybe where he went. And they would much appreciate if you would like be able to send like a vouch that you know me, that I know him, and that is fine, that I'm having a look on where he is.
Well, I guess I can send something on headed paper.
That would be just...
That will of course take until Monday to arrive, but if it helps in the meantime, I can also send a telegram.
If you could send a telegram
No,
and
I
then
will send both, just so that everything is in order.
You are just the best. You know exactly what I want. Perfect. Thank you very, very much. And I will keep you posted as well if we know anything new on where Mr. Gregory is.
If I hear from him, where can I reach you?
That is a very good question. Honestly, probably call here in the hotel and leave a message, and
that would be Murphy's hotel where he is staying. Is that
exactly? Correct? And I will just talk to them because I'm quite sure at our stay we don't have a phone there. I'm quite sure, so this would probably be the best place.
Yes, then I will. If I have anything for you, I will contact the hotel.
Thank you so much.
Not at all, not at all. Yes, so I will see to this immediately. Thank you so much for calling. And if you see Mr. Gregory, please.
We will make sure
to just maybe ring in so that we know that he is safe.
Yes, I will. And if I find anything else, I will ring in and tell you as well. Have a nice rest of the weekend still, and then Alice would go over to Sandy.
Yes. And Sandy has a, and she says, so basically you have to talk to Mr. Crickleshanks, and he's standing there and he hands you a key. And he says, but I will go with you.
I'm totally fine with that. I just talked to the assistant. She will send a telegram, and on Monday, because postal service takes a bit, you will get also an official letter, just that they are knowing me, that I am allowed to go in there, and that it's supported from them as well.
Thank you very much, madam.
Also, it might be if she hears anything from Mr. Gregory, which she hasn't since Tuesday. Also, it was not planned that he called in, so no one is missing him at the moment, at least not in New York. They will miss him on Monday if he doesn't show up. We will see, because also Mr... What was his name? Gordon? No. Morton.
Giles Morton.
Mr. Morton has a meeting with him on Monday as well, so... but even Mr. Morton was quite surprised that he didn't show up, because he also learned that Mr. Gregory is always on time. Then let's go upstairs.
Thank you. Let's go. And he has the key, and he walks you to the hotel room. And as you guessed, it's a wide building. It's a deep building, and So there's one main corridor, and there are then side corridors, and from those, the rooms are, and he basically walks to the far end, and you can tell that you are now approaching the ocean side of the hotel, because there is a huge kind of deck. You can see that through really big glass doors. He takes a left, and he basically says, that's room 52 and 53. And he opens room 52, and he unlocks the door. He opens the door, and he steps to the side and says, after you, madam.
Thank you kindly. Alice will step inside and see to make some light.
Well, I mean, the room is well lit through the windows,
Okay.
which are also
Then-
huge, and you can see immediately that.
Yeah,
if
it's
you were
right.
to
It's
look
summertime.
outside,
It's still
he would have an ocean view.
Then it's still summertime. I'm just looking outside. It's dark, so
Yeah.
it has to be dark there. No, it's not dark. Is it the office or is it his bedroom?
That's the bedroom.
Okay. She would first of all go towards the closet to see if his clothes are still there.
Yeah, you open the closet and the wardrobe, and yeah, his clothes are there.
She would go to his bed and probably like the bedside table and see what is on there.
Give me a. Well, I mean, you don't. So you're looking closely. Just give me
Yeah.
one spot hidden roll for the whole room.
Okay. That is 1, 2, 3. A hard success.
A hard success. Okay. So you look through the room, and it's you find a book called Simmon, Strand, A Short History. When you open it, you see that it's actually been checked out from the local library, so he must have taken out a library card. You also see a torn out newspaper article, which reads "Massacre at the Rowlands Farmstead."
Roland's farmstead.
Yeah.
She will take a few seconds to just skip over it to see what it's all about.
Okay.
She honestly, she acts as if Mr. Crackle-Shank is not there. She's just calmly scanning everything and going through everything. And this article is like, what is that? Because the book she totally gets, that's so Matthew, reading on what is happening around here and some history maybe on the place. But Massacre, that is, well, he likes news and stories. But...
Well, it tells the story of the Rowland family. Husband, wife, and 2 children. Twins, Eve and Albert. And Albert and his parents were murdered. And the police arrested a certain Carl Byers, Byers. But they couldn't prove anything. And it says that the police are still investigating.
Just to be sure, did all 4 die, or so the kids and the parents?
Just Albert and his parents.
Is there any word on the girl?
No, only that she doesn't. She's not mentioned. Only that it's a family of 4: Eve, Albert, and his parents, and their parents, and the parents and Albert were murdered.
Then Alice will quite theatrically just like, oh boy, what a sad story.
Madam?
Miss Gregory has an article here on massacre at the Rowland farmstead, the Rowland family that got killed.
Oh yes, yes, that was quite tragic actually. It happened. Let me see. 5 years ago at this stage. Yeah, they never found the perpetrator.
Just to be curious, it's also from Simmon or nearby?
Yes, quite. It's a farmstead just outside of Simmon's Strand. I want to say maybe 3 miles. I've never been there myself, but I know roughly where it is. It's inland.
Also, Alice is pulling out a notebook, just scribbling down a few things. She will put back also the article, because she promised she will not steal anything, so she will put it back. Then she will, also
you'll
see...
also find one more thing.
Okay.
In the bedroom. And that is one of those... in the old days, before computers, they sometimes had like a system in libraries where they basically had a little slip inside the jacket, and you basically just got a stamp saying you need to return this book by, and it was then just put into a little like like a, what you call it, a like a little envelope thing. And you find this. Just in case you can't read it, because it's kind of maybe a bit difficult to read, it says von Konnenberg.
Page 76.
Page 76, and some weird scribbles. And this is basically pinned to the returned book by with a paper clip. But there is no book. It's just these 2 items. And it also says Simmon Strand Public Library.
Could she... I think that's the first thing where she's like, oh, I need to take this one. And she definitely doesn't want to see, or want to have Mr. Krinkleshank to see it.
Well, you can always try sleight of hand now.
Yeah, she will definitely try a sleight of hand, and I will probably be punished for it by all the good rolls I did so far. But she will definitely... Oh boy! He sees nothing.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 6. That it's a critical success.
Okay, so let's see what he does with regard to spot hidden. Does he notice anything? With an 86, something tells me that no. Where did I put his card? Here we are. He doesn't even have it. So his basic chance is 25. Well, no way. I mean, he's actually looking outside the window.
Okay. She will just slip it in her handbag. Oh no, in her notebook, just between the pages. That's the quickest way and the easiest way.
Yeah.
No
problem.
So library slip with weird signs. Going down in the notebook for me. Yeah, and if that is all, so it looks like his stuff is still here. He definitely did not leave. The massacre, she wrote down everything about what she could get, but put it back. The history book, hey-ho. Then she would turn around to Mr. Krinkashank if I got through everything. Could we now also please have a look at the office?
Of course, madam. And he goes to the adjoining, to kind of like the door between the two. And he opens the door because that one isn't locked, and you can just, and he says, "After you, madam."
Thank you very kindly. And she will open the door and will scan the room first of all, although she suspects at least a desk or a table in there.
There is a desk.
That is full of paper work.
Yes. Now, give me a psychology roll.
Psychology. On point, a success. I rolled a 54 and my stat is 54.
You have been to his office.
Yeah.
His office doesn't look like this. There will be paper, but it will be neatly stacked.
Yes.
There will be files. There will be lever arch files. There will be envelopes, you know, and pieces of paper would be stacked, and then another piece of paper would be folded around them to kind of keep them separate from others. Mm-hmm. This is not Matthew Gregory's desk. Unless, of course, it isn't. Unless, of course, it is, in which case somebody has touched it that's not Matthew Gregory.
Alice probably just freezes mid-walk, be like, "Oh boy.
Are you all right, madam?
Are you sure no one has been in here?"
Well, not that I know of. The door is locked, and he goes. You saw him unlock the other door, and then he goes to the door from this room, and he turns the handle in front of you and pushes, and he says, "See, it's locked."
Could you please just quickly unlock it for me?
He takes the key. He obviously has a master key that fits all locks, and he sticks it in, turns the key. You can hear the mechanism move, and it turns the handle again, and the door opens as he pushes it open.
Alice would like to inspect the lock and the door to see if someone broke in.
Okay,
if there are scratches or anything like that, that should not belong there.
So we will do a spot hidden combined with locksmith.
Probably. How do we do that?
You roll spot hidden first to see if you see anything at all, and then if you do, then we can check if you see what the state of the lock is.
I rolled a success on spot hidden.
Excellent. Then try locksmith.
And for locksmith, no, that's too much. No success.
Okay, so you can't see if anybody has tampered with the lock, or if anybody. I mean, it looks like a lock that has been well used. So you see that there are scratches on the surface around the lock, because sometimes people don't necessarily hit the lock the first time, but you can't see if anyone has done anything to the lock that wasn't using a key, if you know what I mean. If somebody's using.
So it has not, at least not broken up, nothing. That is very, very obviously.
I've just noticed that I don't know the English word for Dietrich.
Lockpick.
Lockpick, yeah. Thank you.
The rogue knows things.
The
like
rogue
that.
knows, yes.
Wrong game system.
Yeah,
sorry.
you wouldn't be able to tell if somebody picked the lock or something. You don't know.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. Doesn't look like someone broke in. At least no one damaged the door.
He actually now looks at the door, and you see him, you know, like he slides his fingers down the frame and down the actual door, and he's like, well, I hope not. The doors are quite expensive. And you've noticed that they are really thick and heavy, so you know, breaking them down would be You would not be able to do this
No,
probably without
it would
actually
be,
leaving traces.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be lockpick or nothing. Alice would also, before she even goes to to the desk and the papers, she would circle around and go to the window or windows
Yeah.
and would have a look how they look. Are they closed properly? Does it look like someone climbed through that?
Okay,
With
so you can tell that immediately that they are locked and
okay,
closed. Sorry, that they are closed.
yeah.
And I mean, but you can do some searching. You can do a spot hidden for me if you like.
She would try to see if there are any spots like some dirt on the window frame or anything that it looks like someone climbed through it. And that is a hard success.
Huh. The room is very clean. But here, and it's very subtle, you can see some kind of... Is this oil? Like oil for hinges? On the windowsill? Odd.
Definitely odd. She will pull out her tissue and will swipe.
Oh, by the
to
way,
get some
have
of
you
the residue
actually
on it.
removed the smudge?
No. The moment Matthew did.
You're probably even more intimidating with this because everybody's like, she's like crazy. Okay, you use your tissue. Do you want to kind of like rub over it?
Yeah,
Wipe it,
just
yeah.
getting some of the residue on it just to see and probably give it really an obvious sniff. Again, she doesn't care that the manager is
now,
there to look.
So basically you can do this and it does come off. It isn't much, but it does come off easily because it is kind of like this
Yeah.
this consistency of oil, kind of like hinge oil, and it gives you this typical smell, this kind of acrid smell.
Yeah.
And it definitely smells of engine oil or something.
She would open the window
Okay, yeah, you can do that. It's not a problem.
and also have a look like leaning outside. Well, you said everything is ground floor, right? So no one has to climb to get up. If she
Well, I mean, it's these windows are not full-sized windows. So there is a sill, and it's like 160, no, not 160. I mean, maybe one, whatever kind of like the normal height is. So you can't just walk out. You would have to climb over it.
climb,
There
but
is
you don't have to jump
so it's just
down or need a ladder or anything like that. She would lean out and would just look down on the ground in front of the window.
then make a luck roll.
God. Luck? That's not what she has.
One stat that you're really bad at.
Yeah, no luck
Okay.
at all.
Actually, the ground is gravel.
Disappointing.
There is nothing you can see.
She will just have a look around. She wants to like memorize where this window is. So if she would come from outside, that she would find the window again. So just trying to find some like here's a bush or
Okay, then
here's
give
some
me a
flowers.
navigate roll.
Okay. Oh God. Navigate. Nope.
Okay, so
don't
we'll
have
see
that much
later if you
notice.
manage to find it again.
So she will try. If you can look inside, she will. That probably is the only quite chaotic room to find. But hey,
I can imagine that when you look through Mrs. Smythe's window, she will go, "Who is that woman with a smudge on her face looking through my window?" Because you found the wrong room. But yeah, that's fine. So you know exactly where that room is. You have it's imprinted in your brain.
I notice. And then she will close the window again properly. And then she would turn around for the desk.
Yeah. It's in chaos. It's ordered chaos, but it's chaos.
This might take a while. I'm really sorry, but Mr. Gregory is a very, very organized, madly organized person. This is not his doing. Someone went through his papers. So I will have to go through everything, sort it for him when he comes back, and see if there's anything missing. And she will sit down
As
on
you
the
say,
chair.
madam.
Maybe you want to take a chair and sit down as well. And
You can see that he's tempted. Let's see if he caves. Because he's kind of like, you know, it's inappropriate for him to sit down in a guest bedroom.
mm-hmm.
30
Well,
seconds. He manages to keep his composure. He
thing
stands
is-
leaning against the window.
Wow.
At the far side, he's
Yeah.
looking near you. So, yeah.
Then Alice will probably try to get at least like one part of the desk free where you can put some paper, and then she would start with the first thing that is in front of her and just go through and see what on earth this is, and would try to get some organization in this.
Okay, so, yeah.
She will definitely just she will keep an eye open, especially if there's
Do you have
anything on the
any value
Roland
in law
farmstead.
beyond the normal chance?
Yes, I have
Okay.
40
Then
points
you
in
can,
law.
you can roll on law.
Okay.
And I'll give you a bonus die for this one because you're not actually trying to make sense of the law, but you're basically trying to order.
I just want to
legal
understand
papers, so
what fits
that's-
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
I will take the bonus die, thank you very much, because that is on point a hard success because I rolled a 20.
So you a hard success. Wow.
Hard
Okay, so
success.
basically you realize that this is going to take a while because there is a lot. However, of course, this is, I mean, Matthew Gregory, so it is coherent. It's
Yeah.
not like these are the scribblings of a madman. So you do find, and you do remember that also Morton told you that they were in the process of filing planning applications, and you can actually find planning applications for 4 different, well, developments that they are working on. 2 of them are more chalets. One is a swimming pool,
Okay.
and one is a marina. And basically it they all are complete. They're just all over the place. They have been you can tell that somebody put them together using paper clips, as you would, but somebody removed the paper clips and just seems to have shuffled the paperwork. You know, so it's all topsy-turvy and out of order, but you can order them because also the pages are numbered.
Oh, numbered, yeah.
So you can if you like, recollate, as it were, the 4 planning permissions. You can see that they are ready to sign. So if they have the meeting only on Monday, this is good to go. You know, it's complete. He just needs to sign. You can also see that Matthew has already countersigned them as the person who's got, you know, like, who is the attorney. And basically it just needs signing by the applicant himself, which in this case is Giles Morton.
I think for a second before she starts, Alice is like hesitant of should I change how this looks, and then she's like, even if there's police here, they wouldn't even know that this is not Matthew. She could tell them whatever they want. So she will go through it. She basically wants to see if there's a page missing,
Not that you can see.
and
They're
she would
all
be
complete.
curious.
They're all basically numbered, and it's
And
complete.
everything is prepared.
They all
Is-
have the same length, like, you know, because they have, well, not the same length, but sorry, that's wrong. But they have the same sections. So the section headings
Yeah.
are there, and they're numbered, and it's all complete.
Everything is there. Okay. There's nothing on the farmstead, right? Because Alice is like, he was also looking for anything they want to invest or buy. So she would be curious if he was interested in a farmstead to buy that, maybe to build something there or so.
No, there is nothing on the farmstead now.
Okay. Then she will organize the papers really, really nicely. And I'm sorry, I have a small fly here that will probably not survive tomorrow if she goes on. And she will put everything very cleanly up like he would like, and that everything
You also find a tray full of paper clips if you like to clip them together.
Yes, she would clip them together because she knows he would like that. Is there anything else on this desk? Any notes? Any... I would like post-its, and there are no post-its right now.
That is actually more like you would expect it, because the desk is, once this has been tidied up, the desk is completely neat. I mean, he does have like, I don't know how the Americans organize their law, but if this was Germany, it would be a bürgerliches Gesetzbuch, and real estate law, and, like the bits and pieces lawyers have, the books that they resort to when they sort these things out.
She would anyhow flip through them just to see if there are any like piece of papers or any notes in there.
They are very well thumbed, so he uses them regularly, and there are some passages that are kind of like underlined, but it doesn't look recent. It's in ink, and you know how sometimes ink starts to fade. Yeah. So this is nothing where you go, oh yeah, this was recently marked. So
is there a garbage can?
There is, yes.
She would look inside as well. Is there any paper or anything in there?
No, but you do find two handkerchiefs, so and they're crumpled up, like paper handkerchiefs.
She would probably, with very careful fingers, would pick them up and just shake them a little bit and see if they unfold.
One of them does, and you can see something that you have probably produced yourself multiple times. A woman has just applied lipstick and done this.
Yeah.
So you can see the lip imprint on one of these papers, one of these handkerchiefs.
Matthew. What are you not telling me? She will carefully fold it up and put it in her pouch.
Okay.
Or in her handbag. No, she would put it in her notebook as well, just to fold it up. She would have a closer look at the color, the lip color, just like to see if it's a red or brick red or more pink or more.
I'm not one who wears lipstick, so I wouldn't be able to tell you, but it's not slutty. And it's kind of like a lipstick that you would also wear. So the color is
the question is
good looking.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that kind of.
Yeah, then it would be more rosy, probably. Mauve, rosy, something like that.
Yeah.
That is a bit, but not too much. Mr. Crinkleshank, I'm very sorry.
Not at all. People get it wrong all the time. You know, I wish my Scottish grandfather would have given me more than this name.
Well, it's an impressive name, and you will not meet a lot of people with it.
Nobody can spell it.
It's a lot of letters in there, but well, not everyone can.
For the first time, he's actually not completely tense.
Well, I am cursed with a quite boring name that every second person on this planet seems to have, because Baker is not really a very sensational last name. So I envy you a little bit.
Well, but it's definitely
nice and special name.
It's definitely a name that has been given to quite a sensational person, if I may say so. But I digress.
Thank you very much. Not sure my parents would agree with that, but they have to live with it, don't they? Do you by any chance know if Mr. Gregory had female visitors coming over?
I do not, as a matter of fact, have any knowledge of this.
Okay.
Then again, I'm not at the front desk. However, we do pride ourselves on our
Discretion. I know. You should.
discretion. So even
Which
if
is.
he had a visitor, we would not have put it in the books. And if you were to ask my staff, they would
say no.
answer.
Honestly, that means he has very good stuff at hand, which I owe to you, because it's not always that case in hotels. Sometimes the people talk very much.
The only thing that I can say is that this room was booked for one person only. However,
I know.
we do not keep tabs on our visitors.
Yeah. It's also honestly not like him to have a female visitor over, especially not when he works, and especially not in his office. His assistant has not been here. We will see. We will see. The good thing is the paperwork is complete, so there shouldn't be any issues with Mr. Morton.
Give me a psychology roll, please.
Okay. Psychology. That is a success.
When you mention Morton's name, for just a split second, you do notice that it's one of the names that he doesn't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't say anything, and he regains his composure in an instant.
She would still blankly go on this topic. I heard that Mr. Murphy and Mr. Morton are not really best friends.
I cannot possibly comment on their personal relationship, madam. I do not know anything about it.
But Mr. Murphy's not from around here, right? I'm not sure. Did you grow up around here, or did you come here for
Well,
work?
as a matter of fact, I used to work in a hotel in New York, and Mr. Murphy, when he opened Murphy's Hotel, asked me if I would act as his chief of staff, shall we say, and I gladly accepted, because I find the seaside very agreeable. And although this is not New York, it is busy enough to keep me busy. We have, I would say, a very nice clientele.
And oh, what a view on the sea you have. That is something no hotel in New York can come with you or compare with. This is a really nice place.
He really starts to warm to you.
That is honestly Alice's goal. She wants to just calm him down. She's not a threat.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to give him any real trouble. She's really just worried for her friend. And she's also always curious to hear little things about whatever happens, because you never know.
Yeah. So he is very, and you can tell he is proud of the hotel. So
Yes.
he's proud of the people who work here, of the staff, of the way the hotel presents itself. So when you comment on the good sides of the hotel, or even on like the good sides of Simmon Strand, you can tell that this is building a rapport.
That is good. Also, just how long has the hotel? It's been here for a few years, right? Because I honestly, in New York, never heard of Simmon Strands before. Mr. Gregory called me that he's here for work and basically invited me to stay for a week.
Oh, the house, the hotel was built 6 years ago by Mr. Murphy. He had moved from New York 2 years previously with his wife, who unfortunately is no longer with us.
Oh boy.
Yes, tuberculosis. He moved to the seaside because it was recommended by her doctors, and I hear that her health did improve, but her lungs were just too damaged, so she passed away a year after they had moved. And so he basically decided to stay and build a hotel. And I believe that his dream was also to, well, I can't really say, or I shouldn't, but I do believe, I have a feeling that he is also, maybe down the line, he will sponsor a kind of convalescence home for people with lung diseases, because the climate is very, very positive. So I have heard him mention it, but I do not know if the plans have grown in any way beyond his wishes, or it could be that he is going to bequeath money to the town to have this built.
Or
He's
something
not,
like that.
I mean, he is still quite sprightly for a man of his age.
Well, at least his name has been heard in New York here and there, so he's definitely of a higher class money. But a thing like that you need to carefully plan, so I totally get that. That's nothing that you just start within a day and just do it. It needs to be
Well, I
planned.
assume you would also need to get the right staff, because it wouldn't be a hotel. You would also
Yeah.
need medical staff, and I think that this is going to take a while to even think of
Plan,
can the
organize.
right people be recruited to Simmon Strand, because the only thing we have is a GP and a veterinary clinic for horses.
Well, both of them will not be really helpful for sincere sicknesses like that.
And he smiles.
But bless his heart for wanting to help, and also honestly helping Simmon Strand with a hotel like this. It definitely brings people, and I'm quite sure if everything I heard about Simmon Strand is true, a lot more New Yorkers will come here the next years.
Well, I would like to think that it is actually just the right size. It is a lovely and quaint village with still the actual community intact. So we have farmsteads dotted around the village. We have a very strong fishing community, and I really must ask you to go to the harbour at one point and maybe buy some fresh seafood. It gets landed every day.
We have to plan to do that tomorrow, because for tonight we already have dinner plans.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
So tomorrow we will, inquire a bit on what is around here. And my assistant loves cooking, so we will definitely see if we can get some good seafood. And it looks like we definitely will be able to. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward
your
to
assistant.
everything.
Is she being looked after by my staff? Because I
No,
don't.
no. She took our luggage. We just arrived, and we have our own place to stay. And she's just
Oh,
setting
good,
up
good,
everything.
good.
So no worries.
Has
Mr.
basically
Gregory
been
took
forgotten
care.
about.
No, Mr. Gregory took care of everything.
Thank you. Good.
Well, then this is basically all we can do at the moment. It's the only thing I know. He definitely did not leave, because he would have taken his stuff. He definitely wouldn't have left with the paperwork here and the contracts prepared. That is not like him.
Have you considered that he may have been, I don't know, taking a drive and stayed in one of the other villages, maybe further inland? I mean, there are sites to see. Maybe he went visiting?
He wouldn't. He would have organized that someone was there to pick us up. Even if he was like, I'm stuck here from all kind of reasons, he would have made sure someone is there to pick us up and tell us.
In that case, I am afraid I cannot really help you, because I don't know enough about him or about his movements to assist you any further.
I know the only thing I would love you to have, first of all, thank you for your assistance or help rather. Could you just lock everything up properly,
yes,
and honestly make sure that your staff is not trying to get in here to clean, because there's nothing to clean at the moment. And I will just check in from time to time to see if you got any note or any sign of living
Messages.
from
Yes.
or for
So
Mr.
you would
Gregory.
like us to collect messages for you? at the
That
hotel. That is
that would be really,
it's
really
not
lovely.
at all.
Also, in case obviously he is calling in himself, like, oh, sorry, which I
How
highly
can we
doubt.
reach you? Where are you staying, madam?
You will not like where we are staying, so we will just come in from time to time and check in with the front
You're
desk.
staying at the chalets.
We are, because
Well, in that case, let me assure you that if we receive anything, I will send one of the kitchen boys over, and they will just run up. It's just literally down the road, and we'll bring any messages that we have to you.
that would be too lovely. And thank you again so much for your support. And just to give you also just a bit good feedback, Matthew loves the food around here. So your restaurant or it seems to be
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
good.
I'm happy to hear that. I will
And
pass the compliments on to the chef.
do that because he knows good food from New York. So if he says something is really good here, you can proud yourself. That's really, really good work.
Thank you for letting me know this.
So thank you very much, and Alice will just step outside, wait for him to lock the doors.
He locks the doors, he checks them twice, and basically, so basically both doors are locked. He checks the other room because obviously the door was open in the meantime, and he checks and nobody's inside, and he locks it,
Locks
and
and lock.
and then he takes you to the reception area.
Yeah.
And he says, Sandy, this is Miss Baker. As you know, Miss Baker is staying at one of the chalets. She will be receiving messages while she's staying there. If a message comes in for her, would you mind sending one of the boys up the road immediately to relay the message? That would be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And just
Not at
a
all.
last
Not at all.
question to the chalets. Which way? Just up there, and she would just lean to look out through the windows, basically on the street, just to get a direction where she needs to go.
He steps around the reception desk again, and then he basically points you in the direction from which you came, and he says, if you go straight on and
Yeah.
onto the deck, it'll take you to the shore. There is a very, very nice pathway along the shore above the beach, and it will take you straight to the chalets. It's also the most scenic and direct route. You can also go through the town, but you would be missing the view.
Thank you very much.
Not at all, miss, not at all.
Then thank you for your help. Have a nice rest of the day, and we'll see you around. And Alice will step outside.
Do you go through the back or do you go out through the front?
She would, at the moment, then before she says goodbye, she would be, when he points out, she would be like, I know I have a lot of questions, but as I said, I'm new to this town. Is there a police station in Simmon Strand?
Oh, yes, of course, we do have a police station in Simmon Strand. When you go outside, you just turn right, you go past the library, and then it's on your left. You can't miss it. It's got 2 bikes outside. We don't have police cars.
Oh, well, everything is quite close together here. Alice would just look at the time. How late is it by now?
Well, I would say it's easily 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I would guess so. She would take a deep sigh, because also by now I would say that the library is definitely not open anymore. It's so late for that. A lot of the shops and everything would be closed. So she will, for herself, be like, tomorrow morning first. As soon as everything opens up here, we will have to make some talks. And she will go backwards out on the deck, following the way he explained to her.
Okay, so you step outside, and the deck is, well, it's full of deck chairs, as you would expect. And so there are some deck chairs that people can lie on, and they can take in the view, as it were. There is also a little gazebo,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little stage on it, and you can see that there are chairs and also uh, those stands where you put sheet music. So obviously they have some kind of evening entertainment, some bands, or maybe even classical music. It could be a small chamber orchestra. You don't know. And then there are also on the other side. So basically, you walk in the middle, and then on the one side are the deck chairs and the gazebo, and then on the other side, there are little tables, like maybe with 4 chairs to each table. Obviously, there is alfresco dining here. You can eat outside if you like. But at the moment, there is no one outside except waiters who are laying the tables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
but there are
lying on the table.
yeah, they're lying on the table exactly because this is not New York. You can get away with that kind of.
Chilling out. Okay.
And they're laying the tables, and there is as you follow, as you keep going, the deck ends, and then you get onto some lawn, and then you can easily see that there is a path.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not paved or anything, but it's basically sand. Well, not sand, it's gravel sand kind of thing. And on each side, somebody has put stones, like, little bricks that basically mark the path. So even if it were dark, it would be very difficult to stray from it because you would touch these, it's like railings, like maybe this high.
Yeah.
So even if it was dark, you could still follow the path. Even if you were blind, you would, because otherwise you would fall over. And also, you notice that even if you were to fall, there is a drop, but it's about 2 meters away from you, so you can't really fall. And you can see the beach from where you are, and you can see a couple of, in the distance, you can make out some boats. Yeah.
She would take the walk. It's still easily light outside at 8 o'clock in summertime.
It's still light out. Absolutely,
it's nice.
The sun
But the
won't
good thing
go down until 10:30 or something.
Yeah,
Well, maybe actually a little bit earlier. I would say probably 9:30. But it's
9:30.
still, it's now light outside, and it's a beautiful day. So it's not cloudy at all. So you have more light anyway because it's not overcast. And as you walk, you can, hear the seagulls, and you smell the ocean, and the air is salty, and I mean, you're used to it. This is the Atlantic.
it would be a nice walk if I wouldn't be that worried. First of all, Alice will take off her jacket because it's obviously too warm for that. She will roll up the sleeves of her. My brain is just like hemmed.
Your blouse.
Blouse, thank you very much.
I was just wondering, you're wearing a blouse and then a vest, yeah? So that's
Yeah, blouse, vest, and then the jacket on top. So jacket goes out, blouse, just putting up the arms a bit. And she has, well, not the sand walking cane. She has her pretty, I have a dagger, knife, sword thing walking cane with her because she was not planning to go at the beach.
It is very so.
But it's a sturdy ground, so that should be fine. She will walk in her own pace, thinking about that this is probably the way that Matthew was taking regularly because he talked about taking a walk after dinner. So even when she walks, she would still look around to see if she can see someone or anything that just catches her eye.
Okay, so
Quite desperately, probably more than less, and still walk towards the chalet.
well, you don't meet anyone.
Okay.
And as you basically keep walking, I mean, there's grass to either side. There are, like gulls. There are some birds, even like walking around. Some gulls. Somebody, you know what they do. They always try to find something to eat. And after about, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes, you see that the the path is sloping down a little bit, not steep, but there is a slope there. And you can see the chalets in front of you to your left. So you're walking north. Um, and yeah, and you would guess that it's probably just another 10 minutes or so, and then you will be there. You can see that it's 6 of them. And there are 3 that are facing, that are right, well, not quite right on the cliff side, but you know, they are facing the ocean, and then the other 3 are further back.
Okay. So
But the way they are spaced out is that none of them actually looks out on another house, but basically they are 1, 2, 3, and then there is spaces between them, and then the other ones are stacked in, you know.
But
And what you also notice is that each one of them has a veranda
okay,
deck that is facing towards the ocean.
the ocean. But she would
Now
suspect
give me
that
a spot
this.
hidden.
Okay. But after we heard, probably the 3 closer to the ocean would be the ones we probably got, because the
We'll
other
see.
3 we will see. But that would be a guess. That is a big failure on spot hidden. Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, you have no idea. You keep walking.
Yeah. That was also too far away to use luck. Sadly so.
As you approach, you also see that one of them has and this is something you couldn't see from where you were, because on the far side of one of the houses, the one that's in the road that's directly facing the ocean, the middle one, there is a car parked at the far side, so you couldn't see it from where you were coming, because the house was in the way.
Yeah, but the parked car looks like the right house, because that should be the Sterling.
Yeah.
And
you also see that the one to the left of the Sterlings has its door open.
she would probably go to the one with her door open, and she would just carefully listen to see if she can hear children.
No, you don't hear any children, but you can see your luggage.
She will carefully step inside and be like, Dottie?
And Dottie steps out of probably what is the kitchen, and she says, "That took you a very long..." Ms. Baker, and she takes
What?
2 quick steps to you, and she does. It did.
Oh my, I totally forgot that.
Yes, I can tell. She's of course cleaned herself up. She has no smudge on her nose.
Sure.
And she has taken care of that.
I guess the dinner has not started yet.
Oh, how could it start? You weren't here.
Well, you still could have started without me. When the Sterlings...
You was the hostess, and if one of your guests hadn't arrived, would you start? No, you wouldn't. And the Sterlings are very much like you in that regard, and I approve of that.
Could you please tell them that I am arrived, that I'm really sorry? Well,
We weren't planning on starting before 8 anyway, so...
Okay, then it's all fine. I will just freshen myself up and change clothes, because this is definitely not fitting for this weather.
Yes, and there's also a smudge on your arm there, so I want that jacket in the bathroom so that I can take a look at it later, all right?
We can just brush it out.
I shall take a look at it later.
Okay. And Alice will, without much words, will just grab her stuff, probably, and just like... Did you already pick a bedroom?
Well, there is a double room, and then there's a single room, and then there is the children's bedroom. So I put you in the double room because it's en suite, and I'm taking the single. The children's room, the bed is a little bit small.
Honestly, no, God dear, that's not for you. That's totally fine. Thank you. And she will just go into a room.
Oh, leave the suitcases. They are empty. Your stuff is upstairs.
How on earth did you already put every... You are magical. and she will, yeah, go in her room then.
So,
And I honestly would not know what to do without you. And then she would go in her room, close the door, probably, well, get out of her clothes, pick something, a nice light dress,
well,
something
you open the wardrobe
uncomplicated.
and everything has been hung on hangers, and it just looks perfect.
She will pick something. Just, I think Alice is still going through everything she found, and she's just picking something that is easily put on, and she would just quickly go into the bathroom, just get some water in her face, just probably put on some lipstick, a nice red one that looks like a bit of something, maybe a bit of rouge just to freshen up. Would look probably outside, just for a second admiring the view.
Yeah, your bedroom is facing the ocean as well.
But would probably talking to herself a little bit like, Matthew, where on earth are you? And then she would step out again to join Dottie.
Yeah, Dottie is downstairs, and she's now, after putting away the suitcases, the empty suitcases. So basically, downstairs is also a little bit of a, well, you know, a place where you put stuff and nobody ever walks in there. So like a walk-in closet, and she just stacks all of the you know, suitcases in there and closes the door. And she says, "Well, Matthew wasn't lying. The range is top of the range, and the icebox, and yeah, he got everything on my list. I'm very impressed. For a bachelor, not bad. Not for a bachelor, not bad. So can I interest you in some lemonade?
No, thank you.
Anything else? Water, coffee, tea?"
Whiskey.
Very well. And she walks out, and she comes back with a glass of whiskey.
Alice will just probably sit like on the edge of the table. She doesn't really just, and probably will really just drown the drink.
You did not find Mr. Gregory, did you?
No. And someone was in his room. His paperwork looked like an explosion. Matthew is so crazy tidy, especially with his paperwork. Someone went through his stuff, but at least I couldn't find anything missing. The contracts were, all the paperwork looked complete, at least. There was a woman in his room, because I found lipstick on some tissue, which also doesn't sound like Matthew, especially not in his office.
Maybe that's not what it looks like.
Well, maybe he likes to wear lipstick and never told me. That would be the best case scenario.
She looks kind of puzzled. No.
I honestly don't know. I don't think so. I just don't know. I found...
It would look very strange on him. I mean, what with his moustache?
Yeah, it would. But you never know. Colorful people out there in New York. I honestly don't know.
Okay, you're talking about a world that she has no notion.
I know.
I mean, she would be seen dead in lipstick. So, you know, wearing lipstick is this close to being Jezebel from the Bible.
Yeah, that's then a
lipstick, I mean, that's like...
That's like, oh God, what is happening?
Yes.
Poor soul. One day,
Well, I'm
one
thinking
day.
maybe he's got a sister. Maybe his sister was visiting.
He doesn't have a sister, dear, and his assistant also was not there. She was in New York. I talked to her.
She's gonna roll psychology to see, does she think that you're terribly worried, because it's maybe... Okay.
Yeah, do that.
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
Her psychology is 50, so that's a critical success. So now you tell me how she would interpret this. Does she think you're actually planning on marrying him and now this is
No,
completely like foiled your plans and you're terribly downcast because you actually have an eye on him?
Alice doesn't. It's
Okay.
basically like her best friend. So there's
Okay.
not like I want to marry him, and I think also I'm not sure. Alice honestly is not sure how it's on his side. I guess that is a topic they're not talking about, but they're friends. And
Okay.
she's really just worried and has no clue because he's also not the like I every night I have a new woman in my bed. That's not him. So
Okay, so basically then she gets this. So
yeah,
she realizes that you're not kind of like seeing
no,
your marriage plans being destroyed like that, but that you are worried because this is not like him. So yeah, she gets that. Um I mean, one thing, I mean, he is a very attractive man.
he is.
But then again, you did say many times to me that he's actually married to the law and he
Yeah,
came here specifically to work.
yeah.
So I would also think that inviting a female guest to his office is out of character.
Yeah, it is weird. Even in his bedroom, it would have been weird, but in the office, it's even weirder.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of the maids. They wouldn't just
They
like,
wouldn't wear
you know,
lipstick.
in well, first of all, maybe
She,
not wear it, but basically leave it in a guest room. That would be highly unusual.
yeah, and Alice would just grab her handbag, would pull out her notebook, and would pull out a tissue with. And also, this collar is not something that a maid would wear. That is no.
She knows how this works and she knows how these are made, and she was like, but that's a very deliberate act. That's somebody
Yeah,
making a decision,
I know.
apply lipstick and then do this. This is not
Yeah.
something, oh, I touched something with my
No.
lips, like a glass, and then
It's like putting on or refreshing and just getting the excess off. I will have to sleep over this. Also, I found a weird scribbling note. Look at
a note
this.
to you.
No, it was stuck to a library seat. I found it on his side table next to his bed. And she will just pull out that piece of paper as well and also put it on the table for Dottie to have a look at it as well.
She
I have
looks
no
at it,
idea what I'm looking at.
and then she walks around and basically to tilt her head because she doesn't want, she's not touching, and she basically, I don't know
It's
what that is.
I have no idea. I definitely want to talk to the library tomorrow because he also had a
I
book.
mean, that looks okay. So I'm just going to show this again.
Because the back layer was definitely a library receipt or something like that.
Now that here looks like a cross of some kind,
Yeah, but there are
but
things
the
at the
other
end.
ones. Von Konnenberg, page 76.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the second paper behind that is from the library that something needs to be returned. So I would be curious to ask them if there's a book.
Well, I mean, if this is correct, it
Right.
says 6th of the 7th. So if you can take out library books like you can in New York and they stay with you for a month, then he would have taken this out. Today is the 7th, so he would have taken it out yesterday or the day before.
Oh, the day before. I just want to see because there was
Yeah.
one book from the library at his bedside table on the history of this place.
There's a book on the history of this place.
Yes.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I really appreciate being here, but isn't it a bit small to have its own history written?
I'm not so sure. I also found a quite disturbing article on a family massacre on his yeah, it has been 5 years ago, so it didn't happen recently. Don't worry about that.
Oh, thank God, because the last time there was people got killed by a ghost. So
Yeah, I'm not, as far as I understood from the article, I still don't know why on earth did he keep it, except maybe he wanted to make a plan of maybe that Mr. Why can't I keep his Morton? I always want to say Morgan. Morton maybe wants to invest in the farmstead that everything happened on, because they had a farmstead outside of this place.
So you're suggesting that Mr. Gregory is trying to assist someone else in buying a farmstead where somebody was massacred?
Well, the thing is, maybe they stumbled over the farmstead. That might be a good idea to build something there, because I'm quite sure Mr. Morton wants to maybe also get a hotel up or something like that. And maybe...
maybe you don't want to put this into the brochure.
And no, but it might be that Matthew, you know how thorough he is, he probably wanted to learn about the property before he really proposed this idea, and maybe he stumbled over this article.
Well, I have to say that makes sense.
That might be an option, because a family with 2 kids, twins, live there, and the parents...
The family was massacred.
The
parents... as well.
Well, one of the children, the boy, was massacred with the parents. There was no word about what happened to the girl. And also, it was never really clarified. Well, they had an idea who did it, but they did not keep in custody because, well, you know, things happen. It's just weird that he has such a crude story in his room. It has some meaning, because he would not keep that just out of randomness.
I would agree that it must have some meaning, because if this was 5 years ago, it's probably not been in the papers recently, so it's not something he read because it was in his daily paper, so he must have sorted it out.
So for tomorrow, definitely the plan is to get in time quite early. A, because you want to have fresh seafood, and we need to be there in time to get that. B, I want to have a look at the library, talk to the people. Also maybe see if there's another book on the history of the town, because I'm getting curious, to be honest. I want to read up a bit.
I can help with that.
Okay.
There's one on your bedside table. It apparently comes with a chalet.
Well, then I have something to read for later on, just to be curious, although there will only be happy and good things probably in there. I think I also tomorrow wanna talk to the sheriff's office, because whatever Matthew is missing, he would not just leave without a note or anything. His stuff is still there, his paperwork is still there, so he definitely not went back to New York. I also talked to his assistant. Well, last time they spoke it was Tuesday, but he was also not planned in calling until next week, so they are not missing him so far. Mr. Borton also said that his next appointment with Matthew is on Monday. But whatever, Matthew would not just leave and not show up for days, especially when he knows that we are coming in.
Maybe he was... You know what? You know, maybe he was traveling, but he got held up and he couldn't get a message through.
And we should figure out if he got a car to leave the town. If he has no car, he couldn't.
Well, I was talking to the Sterlings when we picked up their car, and Mr. Morton's is the only place where you can rent cars. Okay. So we could ask, but
we can definitely ask, because I also already made sure in case we wanna. Well, we will see how we want to handle that, but in case we want to make like a daily tour outside of this beautiful place, we could just rent a car for a day and we could go on a ride.
All right, and at that moment you hear a knock on the door.
Alice will look, not move.
It is Mrs. Sterling, and she says, "Oh, you're back."
Yes.
Dinner's ready when you are.
Well, then let's start with dinner, because I'm honestly a bit hungry. We should probably eat. Also, the original food already looked lovely, so I'm curious on what...
Oh, and your Dottie, she has donated a nice jar of piccalilli that we will have with fresh bread. that we also got in the hamper. It's going to be fantastic.
Sounds
So why don't you join us?
Sure. Come on, Tati. Let's go.
And you can see that she's now wearing something that's a little bit baggier.
And also, the topic, Alice will never talk of this topic again. So whenever Miss Sterling shows up, it will just be nice and friendly talk. She will not mention the topic again, except Mrs. Sterling will get to the topic.
Okay. So the two of you get up. Dottie puts her hand in her pocket and she gives you a key. And she says, there are 2 keys for the chalet. I've got one, you've got one.
Perfect.
And she hands it to you.
Yep. She will put it in her handbag with her notebook and all the other stuff. She still has the same cane with her, the walking cane.
And once you've walked out, she locks the door and she says, well, I don't think that anyone will come out here to rob us, but just to be on the safe side, you know, I'm just going to lock the door anyway.
Yeah, we should definitely lock the door.
And you can also see the Martins. They have obviously been asked by Mr. Sterling, so you can tell, you know, he feels it's not appropriate for the man to walk in on 2 ladies. So he's gone to the place where he knows that there is a man in charge, and he sent his wife to go to the place where there's a woman in charge, because you don't want to have any improprieties. And they are coming, and the children, and they've all changed clothes as well. So Dottie has changed as well. And the children are really well behaved. So so they all file in. And Mrs. Sterling then says, I've been thinking, but I haven't made a decision because I want to leave it up to you, esteemed guests. Would you like to dine outside, or is it maybe too fresh? In which case we can go inside. I haven't laid the table just yet. I've already prepared everything, so we can make a decision for the men to carry out the table and we eat outside, or for all of us to retire into the dining room and eat inside. What do you think?
I personally like the idea of sitting outside. The weather is really nice. I just made a walk here and it's just... Look
and
at that view
looking at each other, and you know, they're all from New York, so they don't really get the opportunity at all to eat outside. So a decision is made, and the 2 gentlemen go inside. They lift the table, they take it outside, and they walk in again, and they bring out the chairs. And so Mr. and Mrs. Sterling sit at opposite ends of the table, and everybody else is sitting between them. And then Dottie goes inside and she comes out with the food, so she won't let anyone else do anything, and she starts you know, putting out the different types of food. And Mrs. Sterling is like, she's like, no, this is my job. And she basically then everything is laid out, and you know, there's crabs for everybody, and there is soup, and there is chowder, and the food is delicious. And with that, we will finish for today.
Okay.
And next time we will start with the feast, and we will see what happens after that. So we thank you for watching, listening. We hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Thanks for playing. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you for being the game master and the storyteller as always. I am excited and shocked at the same time, and worried.
That's how it should be. So, you know, the stakes are high. Who knows what happened to Matthew? And we will soon be back with the next installment in The Incredible Adventures of the Unsinkable Alice Baker, Simmon Strand, Part 2. Bye.
See you. Bye.